The sun was rising outside, everyone was just waking up. And at this time, our main character, Uzumaki Uchiha Naruto, has not yet gone to bed, busy creating fuin seals for sale to clans in his native village of Konoha. As long as he sells seals, he has money, which means everything is fine. Unlike his brother and sister, this boy is a genius. In his first year, he could already walk, read and write at 1.5, and he awakened the chakra at the age of 4, starting to develop it. At that time, his brother and sister could only walk and barely pronounce words. At the age of 4, Naruto began his training, increasing the focus of the chakra to elite jonin. At the age of 5, the boy skillfully created fuin seals of paralysis, explosive, and knew how to put up good barriers. He had a brother and a sister. But you ask, why? And everything is simple. When he was 4 years old, he lived with parents who openly hated him, could not feed him for weeks or beat him for the slightest delay, even if he was at least a little guilty. And his sister and brother constantly mocked and beat him. The last straw for our main character was the moment when he decided to train, and a kunai from his favorite brother, Menma, flew into his head. The kunai, knocked down by a gust of wind, fell directly on the boy's forehead, creating a nasty wound and a crack on the skull. A small piece of the weapon hit the frontal part of the brain, blocking almost all of his emotions. It was a crucial moment. The moment after which he left home. Naruto refused to be a member of this family, and they all became strangers to him, only glad that this demon had left them, and well, he was lucky. Naruto then stole a couple of scrolls with Fuinjutsu and made his way to his father's office, taking there a couple more scrolls with forbidden and, in general, powerful techniques, such as shadow clones, a large fireball, chidori, and a wind blade. He took these scrolls in a hurry. Of these, at the moment, he has mastered only shadow cloning. It didn't take him much time to learn Fuinjutsu, and that's how Naruto started creating fuin seals and selling them. At first, he sold seals to stores for a very small price, but after about 4 months, the boy began selling it to the heads of clans, deciding that it would be better this way, and at the same time he would establish relations with them. It was then that he decided to save up and build his hut at the training ground, where he usually trained, and after leaving home he also lived. Why did he choose the polygon? Everything is simple. He set himself a goal, to become so strong that everyone was afraid of him, like Shinigami, and to become known to the whole world as Madara. So he trains almost around the clock. He started training at the age of 4, but he did only physical exercises. For today, the boy's body is perfectly trained. The usual workout consists of 70 push-ups, 100 squats, 65 pull-ups, 100 on the press, and all this with weights for 20 kilograms. It's been 12 hours and Naruto is going to the tobacco shop in the Sarutobi clan, because it's still very hard for him to stay up all night and make seals. He heard from passers-by that there is the best tobacco and there are many types, including useful ones. When the main character came to the shop, smoking on minimals, the great third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, was sitting there. The old man saw the boy and was very surprised, not expecting in any way that the son of Kushina and Minato could come to this store. The old man expressed a perfectly reasonable question. Naruto, how did your parents let you come here? Oh, hello, Grandpa Hiruzen, he said with his usual cold tone, but his eyes sparkled happily. Have you already forgotten that I left the family? I can't live in a place where I am bullied and constantly humiliated. Hiruzen frowned, muttering something indistinctly. Subconsciously, he decided to go to Minato later and sort everything out. Oh, I'm sorry for you, Naruto, exhaling the usual smoke from the pipe, which, it would seem, he never let go of his hands. The old man says and carefully examines the boy. Don't feel sorry for me, Naruto answers with slight irritation, slightly twisting his lips in disgust. Naruto, why did you come to this store? The third Hokage asks with a slight squint. Listen, old man, since I live alone now, I decided that I needed to open my own business and, that's why I came here. By the way, I can also sell seals to you." The guy outlined his situation in general terms. "Listen, granddaughter, don't you want to train? Surely you have an idol that you look up to?" Grandfather asked with interest. "Grandpa, of course. I agree, and my idols are Madara and Shinigami." The boy agreed without hesitation. "You have interesting idols. Anyway, come to landfill number 7 tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Here are your cigarettes, and we'll talk about the seals later," he said cheerfully and handed Naruto the cigarettes he needed. "Now his clan will have quite rare seals." "Okay," said the red-haired man and took the cigarettes. When he left the store, he immediately went to the landfill and created 100 clones. 80 went to make seals, 20 to meditate, and Naruto himself went to do physical training. Flashback October 10. Minato threw a kunai at his opponent, teleported behind his back, and attacked with a Rasengan. "I'll be back. And, then you won't be able to cope with me," the masked man who introduced himself as Madara said with breaks for shortness of breath, after which he disappeared into the funnel. 30 minutes ago, push, Kushina, almost, I can already see the head, said the wife of the third Hokage, Bivako, not letting the red-haired woman lose consciousness. "Damn, Mikoto, I'll kill you if I meet you." The wife of the fourth Hokage shouted at the top of her voice at her best friend, "Here is the third one." 2 were immediately taken away by a midwife. They were named Menma and Aika. The youngest was named Naruto. When Minato almost closed the seal, a masked man appeared in front of him, holding a towel in which the youngest son of Minato, Uchiha, and Kushina Uzumaki was wrapped in his arms. The brunette quickly turned around. The corpses of Anbu and Bivako, lying with a severed head, caught my eye. "Who are you?" Frowning, the brunette threw, snatching his special kunai from his pouch. "I am the great and unique Uchiha Madara," he shouted and put the kunai to the baby's throat. "Get away from the Jinchuriki," said Madara. "Calm down and give the baby back." Konoha's black lightning shouted nervously. "I'm calm, unlike you," he said and threw the child into the air. Minato lived up to his nickname, quickly picking up the baby, and teleported to a house on the outskirts of the village, putting him there, and took the 2 firstborn Anbu to the hospital to lie down a little and get some sleep. "Soon I'll bring your—" He did not have time to finish, as a wild roar was heard throughout Konoha, which residents will not forget for a long time and will see in nightmares. And this roar was produced by the strongest, most terrible and most beautiful of all Biju, Kubi no Yoku. Minato teleported to Kushina. When he saw her, he just froze, eyes wide in fright. She was hanging on chains between 2 stones and barely breathing. "I can't stand like this for long. Kubi is destroying the village, and who, if not the Hokage, should protect it?" Minato thought and teleported with her to the hospital, leaving her there, after which he used Hiration again and ended up near Hiruzen. "Minato, your mother." Hiruzen started shouting. "How could this happen, Hiruzen-sama? Everything later, and now it's better to detain and push the fox out of Konoha," the current Hokage asked, and at the same moment Madara appears next to him. Minato started a dialogue. "You can't be Madara, he died a long time ago." Konoha's black lightning exclaims. "As you can see, I'm standing right in front of you, Minato-san," he said and grinned, although it was not visible behind the mask. "Why would you do that?" Kushina's husband asks a question. "I will finally take revenge on Konoha for everything." The man who attacked the village shouted, running to the fourth Hokage. They had a serious fight, not for life, but for death. Minato made a left kick in the jump, but passed through. Realizing that he would not last long, the man decided on a decisive blow. And no sooner had the Hokage landed than he disappeared in lightning and appeared 10 meters from the enemy. Uchiha threw a kunai at his opponent and, when he teleported behind his back, attacked with a Rasengan. "I'll be back." And, then you won't cope with me, the masked man who introduced himself as Madara said with breaks for shortness of breath, after which he disappeared into the funnel. The father of 3 newborn children teleported to Hiruzen, seeing that the fox was already behind Konoha. The hero of the Third World War folded the seals, bit his finger and called Gamabunta. The toad, as soon as she saw the fox, immediately understood everything and jumped on him. At that time, the summoner himself teleported into the house and took his son. He understood that it was best to seal the fox into one Naruto, so that 2 would not suffer, and if you think about it, then it was because of him that the fox broke out, because he was the last one. Minato had almost folded the seals when he heard a voice, POV Danzo. As usual, I was sitting and sorting out papers in the office, when the whole idyll was interrupted by a roar. I already fell off my chair. All the root ANBU immediately appeared near me. I told them to run to the field and detain the fox. I'm almost there when I see Minato folding the seals. When I noticed the newborn boy, I immediately realized that it was his son. I thought about it and shouted. End POV Danzo, wait, Minato. Danzo shouted. Jiraiya's disciple turned around, deciding to ask the head of the ANBU root. Danzo, Sama, what are you doing here? Dad asked in surprise. Listen, Minato, you've just had children, and I'm already too old, and I've made a lot of mistakes. So, be a friend, make way for the old man, said the head of the root with tears welling up. Good, Minato replied with sadness in his voice. The disciple of the second Hokage folded all the necessary seals and called the god of death, Shinigami. He looked like this. His skin was purple, he was dressed in a white kimono, beads in his left hand, and a tanto in his mouth and 2 large horns on his head, as well as black eyes with a yellow iris. Shinigami looked at the fate of this boy and decided that since he, Shinigami, is already old, this child will become his successor to the post of the god of death. Seal the fox into this boy, said Sarutobi Hiruzen's teammate, pointing first at the fox and then at the boy. Do you know the fee, mortal? The menacing voice of Shinigami made the old man a little shy. Yes, the summoner replied in a subdued voice. The god of death sealed the fox and pierced Danzo's body with his tanto, pulling the soul out of him. Some time after the sealing, Minato Uchiha's son's hair turned blood red, and his eyes turned sky blue, like diamonds. At first he thought he was captured by a fox, but then he dismissed these thoughts, realizing that the Uzumaki genes just took over. Minato hated him anyway, because he believed that a fox had escaped because of him. Although he couldn't give it to the orphanage, because it's a shame for the Hokage to throw his own child into the orphanage. All the clan heads, elders and Hokage were at the meeting. There was a discussion of the Kubi attack and the identity of the person to whom the leadership of the ANBU route will be transferred. So, to whom will the route go? Minato asked nervously. I want to take him under my command, because Danzo was my best friend, Hiruzen said in a subdued voice. Who agrees with this, raise your hands. Minato asked. Unanimously. This meeting is over. Minato said and was about to disappear when one of the elders, Koharu, suddenly spoke up. And who are the Jinchuriki? He asked with a sly smile. My son, the blond man answered somehow fluently. I believe that he should not grow up in a family. I'm in favor of him being sent to an orphanage. Minato got angry at this and was already starting to boil, when suddenly his assistant, Shikaku Nara, took everything into his own hands. I don't think it would be the best idea, because if the shelter finds out that he is a Jinchuriki, they will start beating him daily, which will increase the chances that the fox will break out. Or, even worse, Jinchuriki will run away and want revenge. And secondly, the family will constantly keep an eye on him and will not let the fox escape. Also, the assistant of the fourth Hokage wanted to continue something, when suddenly Minato himself interrupts him, who is in favor of removing the elders from their posts. Uchiha voiced the question, flashing the activated Sharingan angrily. Everyone raised their hands. Unanimously, the next elders were Shikaku Nara, Fugaku Uchiha and Hiruzen Sarutobi. I declare the meeting closed, said the newly made father and disappeared in black lightning. Once in the hospital, he told Kushina everything, and she also began to hate Naruto. From this moment begins the great story of Uzumaki Uchiha Naruto, the successor of Shinobia. The day has come when Naruto will start his training. As usual, he woke up at 5 o'clock and immediately did exercises, then went to the river to do water procedures, brush his teeth and wash. Then he started eating his sandwiches. Now Uchiha Uzumaki is standing on the 7th training ground, and he came here at exactly 7 o'clock. Naruto immediately started with physical training so as not to waste time. This time he decided to increase the exercises by 5 and add 10 kilograms to the weights, because it became easy for him with weights by 20. Hi, Naruto, I see you've already completed physical training, so let's get right to the chakra. Do you know what it is? Greeted and immediately asked Hiruzen. Hi, old man, yes, I know what it is, and I woke her up a long time ago. I decided to brag a little to Naruto. After all, I used to go to the library and read almost all of it, only there and in Ichiraka Ramen I was not kicked out. Wow, well, since you've already awakened her, then let's start training on her control. Can you walk on trees and water? If he has already awakened the chakra, then he is a real genius. It remains only to unleash its potential. Hiruzen flashed through his thoughts. I haven't tried it in practice yet, but I know it in theory, explained Uchiha Uzumaki. Then what are you waiting for? Come on, quickly ran to the tree. Hiruzen commanded in such a tone that no one would want to object. After the words of the great professor, our main character ran to the tree. He put one foot on the trunk and began to slowly direct the chakra into it until he felt that he could stand. After Naruto put the second leg and slowly walked. When he reached the top, he jumped down and already ran into a tree. Grandpa, I'm done. Naruto shouted from the top of the tree. Hiruzen looked at this with great surprise, because a 5-year-old boy had just climbed a tree on his first attempt. Naruto, you are a real genius. Okay, now let's get to the water. The red-haired man spent about 1 hour to walk on the water, and an hour and 30 minutes to run. Hiruzen was surprised again, but not so much. Do you know your elements? Hiruzen asked with interest. Not yet, the red-haired man replied. Hold the leaves and pinch them between your fingers, said the third Hokage and gave 5 leaves. Naruto took the leaves and placed each one between his fingers. The leaf between the thumb and index sparkled with green lightning, burned between the index and middle, and got wet between the middle and nameless. So, granddaughter, you have a rather unusual zipper. I've never seen such a thing and I'm unlikely to find something similar to it. You also have a good predisposition to lightning, and it is your main element. Fire and water are your secondary elements. I am very surprised that at this age you have 3 elements. Okay, let's leave kunai today, and tomorrow at the same time at this training ground, I'll make up your training plan, the gray-haired man said, smiling, because not every shinobi has 3 elements, and here is a 5-year-old boy. All right, Grandpa. By the end of the training, Naruto was throwing 9 out of 10 shurikens, 10 out of 10 kunai and 9 out of 10 sunbones. It was already 6 o'clock in the evening, so Naruto went to Ichiraku to have dinner. But when he got there, the heads of the Uchiha, Nara, Yamanaka and Hyuga clans were there. As soon as they saw him, they sat down closer, and Fugaku Uchiha immediately started a conversation with him. Listen, Naruto, how about marrying my daughter Sasuke in the future? The head of the red-eyed clan asked, because in any clan, a master of seals would not hurt. Well, if you think about it, then she's pretty and I've liked her for a long time, Naruto thought, and said out loud, good. That's great, then come to our house tomorrow for dinner, there you will get to know each other better, said Fugaku, and in his thoughts he was already rejoicing at such a future clansman. Okay, and now let's discuss the seals. Here all the other clan heads joined the conversation. And what is it, Naruto? Something doesn't suit you? Shikaku asked the question. Yes, it seems to me that for 100 seals, 4,000 ri is not enough. We need at least 10,000, because there is barely enough for materials, and winter is coming soon. I have nowhere to live. Minato's youngest son outlined his situation. Naruto, why is it so expensive? Fugaku, Inoichi, and Hayashi asked in unison, while Shikaku pondered. I agree, said the assistant Hokage, which surprised everyone present except Naruto. Shikaku, but it's too expensive. The Yamanaka clan chief exclaimed. Firstly, this is a fairly reasonable price, and we will not find such a master of seals anywhere else, explained Nara. Everyone else just sighed and agreed. After the head of the Yamanaka and Hyuga clans still tried to marry their daughters to Naruto, but he said that they were not interesting to him. And soon everyone went home. Yamanaka's house. I don't know what Ino's mom's name is, so I'll call her Ino's mom, original winky face. Damn Naruto! Ino's father shouted as he entered the house. Inoichi, what the fuck happened? Well, why yell like that? I ran out into the corridor and asked Ino's mother. Problems with seals. Naruto refused to marry our daughter, so he also raised the price to 10,000 ri, said the head of the family, sighing heavily. Honey, well, don't worry so much, let's better give you a massage before going to bed, and in the meantime, sit down to eat, the brunette soothed him. Hugh's house. I also don't know the name of Hinata's mom, so I'll call Hinata's mom Winky Face. Is he completely arrogant, inflating the price more than twice? The head of the Hyuga clan asked into the void. After that, the white-eyed man took a deep breath and exhaled and decided to go to bed early today. At home at the NR, the assistant Hokage came home calm and immediately went to eat. There he told all the events for today to his wife and went to bed. At home with Uchi, when Fugaku came home, his wife immediately noticed that her husband was both joyful and angry. And when everyone sat down at the table, Mikoto started talking. Honey, is something wrong? The wife of the clan head asked anxiously. I have some joyful and not very good news. Perhaps I'll start with not so much. Naruto inflated the price of the seals, now they cost 10,000. Fugaku began sadly. Darling, why is it so expensive? The woman asked in surprise. To be honest, she was also in a bit of shock. He said he didn't have enough for materials, and there was nowhere to live. He said menacingly. What about Minato and Kushina? Mikoto asked, because why does her best friend's son have nowhere to live? This question worried her greatly. Don't you still know that he left them? Well, it's not about that now, and here's the second news. Sasuke, when you turn 16, you will marry Naruto, he said in a tone that did not require objections. But Sasuke didn't pay attention to it, deciding to ask why. The daughter of the head of the Uchi clan spoke with tears welling up. Then we will have a seal master in our clan, and your children will have strong genes, explained why he made such a decision. But I don't love him. Sasuke shouted and quickly ran to her room. Fugaku sighed and asked his wife to talk to her daughter. Mikoto didn't like it either, of course, but she couldn't say anything either, so she went to her daughter's room. Itachi just looked angrily at his father and also left. POV Sasuke, when dad came home, he looked very worried. I wonder what happened. Suddenly my father started talking about Naruto, it's like Menmakuin's brother. About the fact that he sells seals. Naruto seems to be my 1-year-old. Does my father want me to marry him? But I only love Menmakuin, and this Naruto is a demon. I don't want to communicate with this person anymore. I thought and ran to my room. End POV Sasuke. When Sasuke ran away, it was already pitch black night outside, a downpour began, lightning struck, and it felt like someone was crying in heaven. But all this is due to the fact that our red-haired genius was now lying in an alley, and drunken Hunins with kunai were standing over him. When one had already struck him on the right eye, 3 drunkards were immediately struck by green lightning and instantly killed them. When Anbu, who was watching Naruto, saw this, he immediately picked up the boy and took him to the hospital. Naruto's POV, I think it's time to go home, otherwise it's too late, the red-haired man said to himself, and voiced aloud, "Thank you, old man Tucci, sister I am, for a delicious dinner, but I think I'll go now," said Naruto and, having paid the bill, left it. "Okay, Naruto, come again." Tucci and Iam told him to catch up. "But it's good that I raised the price of seals, and even marry Sasuke-chan." Suddenly 3 drunken ninjas with the rank of Hunin jump out of the alley and, quickly dragging him into the alley, begin to beat him, shouting about the demon. But I didn't even have time to react. How will I then become like Madara-sama or Shinigami-sama? Well, never mind, I'll show them a real demon yet, the boy was thinking, until the Hunins began their dialogue. Well, what, demon, ready to get on merits? Jounin, who was standing on the left, asked Ikayada, "Let's quickly torment this demon I see, and leave," said, apparently, their leader and the most sober, "Here he brings a kunai and runs it over my eye, after which I pass out. Damn it, they beat me up, so they also threw some kind of sewer." Uchiha, Uzumaki said with displeasure. Naruto appeared in the sewer, where there was ankle-deep water. Everything was dripping from the pipes, and it didn't smell very good here, to be honest, it was dark everywhere, but Jinchuriki seemed to know where to move. Here he goes, turns left, turns right again, and at this pace for another 10 minutes, but one of the turns in front of him turns out to be a cage. Is there anyone here? The boy shouted and asked. Grh. Sharingan. The fox shouted and hit the cage with his paw. Because of this, Naruto was thrown back, and he fell to the 5th point, but then the boy lowered his gaze to the water and saw that his hair color had changed. Now half of his hair was black like a raven's wing, and the other half was red like blood. The great dojutsu of the Uchi Sharingan clan was burning in his eyes, yes, and with 2 tomos. Our red-haired boy smiled at this, because now the training will go faster. Who are you? Naruto asked with a smile. Kyubi was very surprised by this, because now a boy of about 5 years old is standing in front of him and is not afraid of him at all. "I am the strongest, great and terrible Kubi no Yoko," he said pathetically, and a gigantic fox appeared in front of the new owner of the Sharingan. "Is it because of you that everyone calls me a demon?" Naruto asked with interest. "Yes, it's all because of me. Well, do you want to take revenge on me?" Kyubi asked the question with some interest, because he was already expecting the boy to lose control and he would break out. "No, I'm even grateful to you, because this is the beginning to fulfill my goal, and my goal is to make everyone afraid of me," GG proudly declared, and the fox was upset, because this is his first Jinchuriki who does not hate him. Maybe this is the man from the prophecy, okay. "We should try," the fox mused, and said aloud, "Let's be friends, I feel that you have no bad intentions," said the nine-tailed. "Good. My name is Uzumaki Uchiha Naruto, and you?" The owner of the Sharingan answered and asked. "I'm Kurama, remember this name, because I won't repeat it anymore," Kurama said and smiled, although it looked more like a grin. "Okay, but I'll call you Ku." "Okay, I'll probably go," Naruto said and came out of his subconscious. End POV Naruto POV ANBU, I'm following Jinchuriki as usual. They started beating him. Damn it. It's also raining. I won't be able to observe properly. What the fuck am I going to tell Hokage? Asked ANBU, who was watching Naruto. We need him urgently to the hospital, and then to the Hokage. The shinobi muttered to himself and jumped down to the Jinchuriki and POV Ambipov Mikoto Fugaku. Fugaku only does that for the sake of the clan, but he didn't even think about his daughter's feelings, although Naruto is very smart and already has his own business. Okay. I need to talk to her. Standing silently outside the door, Mikoto pondered. After a few seconds of reflection, she decided to go into her daughter's room. The first thing she saw was Sasuke lying on the bed and crying. My chest ached painfully from the sight of my own tear-stained eyes. The woman could not restrain herself and almost ran up to the bed, grabbing her daughter in her arms and pressing her trembling body to herself. Mikoto tried her best to calm Sasuke down. She said that everything was still ahead, that life would not end and that she would definitely be happy with Naruto. But all the arguments seemed to fly past the ears of the girl. She stood firm on her own, wanted to be with Menma, whom she loves so much. The mother knew that if her daughter got something into her head, it would be impossible to change her mind. Therefore, pursing her lips, she hugged Sasuke tighter and just calmed her with light phrases until she fell asleep. The woman gently lowered her head onto the pillow, covered her with a soft blanket and left the room. The hope that her daughter would still be able to stop loving Menma was fluttering nervously somewhere in her chest, and POV Mikoto POV Minato. Finally, this day is coming to an end. The main thing is not to be late for dinner, otherwise Kushina will fuck again with a frying pan, which will have to call Tsunade. Hokage mused and, propping his chin on his fist, lazily examined Konoha. Someone knocked on the door. Who did it bring there in the evening? The Hokage flashed through his head. And POV Minato, come in. He said firmly, turning around to face directly to the door. I didn't expect to see anyone on my doorstep. Minato, how's Naruto doing? Hiruzen didn't even say hello. So, I immediately dumped the question on Yondaime. Everything is fine with him, he runs and jumps. In general, everything that children do at his age. The Uchiha brazenly lied, because not only did he not want to fall in the eyes of Sandaime, he also did not know what his child was doing. He came to me recently. And I started training him. I'll tell you honestly, he has a talent. By the way, you didn't meet my expectations. I'm disappointed. Hiruzen said sadly, and finally slammed the door and went home. We still need to make a training schedule for Naruto. Minato began to hate his abandoned son even more, as he believed Naruto was to blame for everything. Anbu appears in Shunshin's vortex and reports that Jinchuriki has been taken to the hospital. The fourth Hokage didn't care about him, so he didn't even pay attention and just let the special forces soldier go. Well, he, too, using Hiraishin, was at home in the blink of an eye. Where am I? Naruto thought, and suddenly a voice rang out in his head. You're in the hospital, Kyubi, are you something? Asked a question in his head. Yes, and now you will have a scar on your eyelid. By the way, are you by any chance late for training? It's already 20 minutes to 7, damn it, couldn't you have woken me up earlier? Anyway, how do you know what time it is now? Do you have a wristwatch? Naruto quipped to his Biju without waiting for an answer. He grabbed his clothes from the bedside table next to him, quickly put them on and, without hesitation, jumped out of the window. Fortunately, the first floor, so nothing terrible would have happened. Well, why are you late? Sandaime asked with displeasure, because to be late for the second training session is arrogance. Sorry, Grandpa, it was just business. Naruto waved off, but in the end, he had to tell almost everything that happened last night. That's where I got this scar. Not a very pleasant story. But don't worry, scars adorn a man. The professor encouraged his student. But we won't scratch our tongues for a long time, you have a lot of work. He began promisingly, handing the guy a piece of paper with his training schedule. POV leaflet 5 to 00, charging 5 to 10, 5:30, water treatments 5 to 30, 5:50, breakfast 5 to 50, 6 o'clock, the way to the landfill 6 to 00, 8 o'clock, phys. Preparation 8 to 00, 10 o'clock, 100 clones, taijutsu 10 to 00, 11 o'clock, 10 clones, meditation 11 to 00, 1400 hours, 100 clones, kenjutsu 14 to 1500 hours, 20 clones, bukijutsu 15 to 00, 1900 hours, 300 clones for each element. Techniques and POV leaflet. You will also have teachers in techniques. The first teacher in Raiden and Suiton, Kakashi Hatake, is the best user of Raiden in our village. The second teacher of Katan and Bukijutsu is Uchiha Itachi, a young genius of the Uchiha clan. Kenjutsu, you will learn from scrolls. I think a combat scythe and a gunbai will suit you. I will present them to you. Taijutsu, you will learn from the Madara scrolls. Okay, let's rest today and talk things over about the seals. Of course, I'll even make a discount for you. He smiled, for he was grateful to the old man for the teachers. That would be 4,000 ri for you. Thank you, grandson. I heard you recently raised the price to 10,000 ri. Come to my place for dinner tonight, you'll rest at the same time. Hiruzen murmured cheerfully. I'm sorry, but the head of the Uchiha clan has already invited me today. Naruto was a little embarrassed, and Hiruzen noticed this and decided to let Minato's youngest son go home. Well, then go get ready, the old man said in a sad voice. And Naruto quickly went home, because today he will see Sasuke-chan, which means you need to look decent. Naruto is already standing near the door of the house of the head of the Uchi clan with a bouquet of black roses and a cake. Knock knock. There was a knock in the house. Oh Naruto, here you are, Fugaku's wife said fussily, and, opening the door for the guest, let him into the house. When he went into the house, he gave a bouquet of roses to Sasuke, and a cake to Mikoto, and went to wash his hands. Then he greeted Itachi and Fugaku, after which he sat down at the table. At the table, Naruto was near Sasuke, and began to have dinner. During dinner, Mikoto asked Kushina's youngest son about how he lives and what he usually does, while Naruto willingly answered this. Well, this evening has come to an end, come again, the black-haired woman said finally, and her husband limited himself to a nod of his head. Absolutely. Sasuke-chan, can we go for a walk sometime? Answered, and the former scarlet-haired man asked hopefully. Of course, Naruto-kun. Sasuke answered positively, and in my thoughts was how to get rid of him. And our red-haired genius rejoiced in his thoughts, because he would be able to walk with Sasuke-chan, who he had liked for a very long time. After Naruto said goodbye and went home with a smile on his face, only now he was jumping on the roofs, because it was already night, and he did not want yesterday's situation to repeat itself. Here the sun comes out, and a couple of bright rays are already visible, which only begin to illuminate the earth recently flooded with puddles from the rains, and our hero has already woken up and was doing exercises. Here you can hear the birds singing, how the river runs near the landfill where Naruto lives, and now he is already going to her to brush his teeth and wash. Ordinary citizens are still basking in their warm beds. ANBU jump on the roofs, someone on a new task, someone on the contrary runs faster to the Hokage to pass the mission. And among them, our hero runs to the 7th training ground to seriously start his training. 15:30, Hi, I understand it's me who needs to train you? After greeting, Kakashi asked it, apparently, Kakashi-sensei, did Grandpa the Third tell you why I left home? I asked a question of interest to GG. Yeah. This is not the man I knew. Well, let's not talk about sad things, you'd better tell me where Itachi-kun is. He was supposed to train you in Bukijutsu. When Hatake found out what his teacher did, whom he always looked up to, the 4 Hokage just fell in his eyes. I'm Kakashi-senpai here," said the son of the head of the Uchiha clan, sitting under a tree with a slight smile. "Well, since everyone is gathered, then let's get acquainted. I think I'll start. I'm Kakashi Hatake, an elite Konoha Chunin. What I like and don't like, you don't need to know. Hobbies are reading, goals and dreams, I won't tell." He said this while reading his obscene book. "My name is Itachi Uchiha, Anbu. What do I like more precisely? Who is Izumi Uchiha?" Having said this, he had a barely noticeable blush. "I don't like it when my younger sister is offended. There is no hobby. The goal is to become the head of the clan and protect relatives. The dream is to stop all wars. Naruto, my name is Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha and I'm a real cupcake. I'll breed any chick for a lemon, an ordinary citizen. What I like more precisely. Who is Sasuke-chan? Don't like, almost everything. Hobbies are training. The goal is to be strong and to be feared by everyone. A dream is for children." When he said that, there was a slight blush on his face too. After getting acquainted, Itachi decided to continue training Naruto. "Well, Naruto, I think you know what to do." Brother Sasuke said more affirmatively than interrogatively. Naruto created 310 clones, then sent hundreds to each element with clones of Itachi and Kakashi, and sent the remaining 10 to sleep. And he himself at this time was talking to a brunette and an ash-haired man about Sharingan, and studied non-spontaneous techniques. When it was already 7 o'clock in the evening, Blue-Eyed dispelled the clones and he staggered a little, because there was an incredible amount of information. Hatake also said that green lightning is much stronger than normal, and that I can surpass him in using Raiden. On the way to his makeshift house, Naruto began to think what he had learned and what he had pulled up. "So well, everything is very good. I learned, from lightning techniques, 1. Chidori. 2. The Dog of Lightning. 3. Lightning Whip, and he began to study Raikiri and Hiration from the techniques of fire. 1. Fireball. 2. The Great Fireball. 3. Phoenix Flowers. 4. Simple Fire. Started studying the Fire Dragon from Water Techniques. 1. Water Bullets. 2. Water Prison. 3. Water Pistols. I started trying to use it without a water source, without spontaneous. 1. Substitution. 2. Reincarnation. Henge. I started studying Shunshin. I also tightened my taijutsu and kenjutsu. Now it's all at the level of a weak chunin, and chakra control is generally like a strong hunin. You need to quickly develop Sharingan to 3 tomo, so that it is easier to learn taijutsu, kenjutsu and ninjutsu. In his thoughts, the half-breed did not notice how he got to the landfill where he lived. He immediately made clones to make seals for sale, and trained in folding seals with 2 hands and 1, because who knows what might come in handy. That's how the first day of training with his new teachers at the 5-year-old Jinchuriki Konoha ended. Time skip. Now there are 2 people in the quarter of the Sarutobi clan, in a shop called Smoking on Minimals. One of them is a retired Hokage, and does not stand out in any special way, and the second will soon enter the academy, and he has something to stand out for, with his clothes, muscular body, hairstyle and his composure. He was dressed in black shinobi sandals, black pants and a turtleneck through which you could see a pumped-up press. He also had red armor where there was a sign of the Uchiha clan on his right shoulder, and Uzumaki on his left. His hair was knee-length, the left half was blood red, and the opposite half was the color of a raven's wing. On the wrists were seals in which were sealed kunai, shurikens, senbons, gunbai, a combat scythe with a green lightning drawn on the blade, scrolls and money. There were also seals on his shoulders where there were large scrolls, a tent, food, a first aid kit, and a couple of sets of casual clothes, the same ones he is wearing now, and a white kimono. He also had a seal on his neck, where there was a Shinigami mask. He also has a tattoo on his forehead, let it be in the same place as Gaara's, which translates from Japanese as blood. During these 3 years, Naruto became very friendly with his teachers, and began to communicate with them in a friendly way. On Gigi's birthday, he was given mostly money and sealing scrolls, but on his 8th birthday he was presented with Hiruzen, Madara armor, Itachi, 3 sets of clothes and a white kimono, and Kakashi, a mask like Anbu with the image of Shinigami. After all, this year he will enter the academy to become a real shinobi. Now these two were discussing the end of training, and the termination of the delivery of seals. Naruto's seals have stopped selling to clans for a year, except for Sarutobi, because you need to repay the old man for training and great friends. And since the training is over, and even more so he has accumulated enough money to live in prosperity for at least another 2 years, then he may not do it anymore. At the expense of training, he has made a lot of progress in them now. He knows a bunch of techniques and even invented his own. Kenjutsu is at the level of Madara as well as Taijutsu. With Bokujutsu he is at the level of Itachi. Good physical. Preparation, and even his Sharingan is already Mangekai, only he does not use it, because he is still small for such strength. Nobody knows about Mangekyo except Naruto himself. All he lacked was combat experience, and a loved one who would pull him out of the darkness into which he is slowly beginning to sink. Well, granddaughter, Hiruzen began to say, you have a whole mountain of muscles. Do you admire the aesthetics of Daniel Stepanov? So your training has come to an end. It seems to me that you don't need them anymore. You will still have time to learn the rest. Okay, Grandpa, and by the way, can I join your ANBU? Naruto asked an interesting question at the moment, because he believed that he had nothing to do at the academy. Are you sure? The old man asked with a pipe in his mouth, and without waiting for an answer, he continued, maybe you still go to the academy, make friends. At most, I'll go on the day of entry and immediately pass the exam for Genin, and I don't need friends. Uchiha Uzumaki spoke without expressing emotions. Hiruzen decided that he could not convince Naruto and gave up, saying, well, then let's go on September 2nd at the training ground number 7 at 10 o'clock, at the same time we will check what you have learned. If that admission goes on September 1st, Naruto, okay, let me go for a walk, maybe I'll meet someone. Having said that, he left the store and wandered through the busy streets of Konoha, because soon September 1st is the day when young future shinobi enter the academy, people who will protect this village, their goals and dreams in the future. Only a few of them will be able to become outstanding shinobi, and some will go for cannon fodder. As soon as the war comes, it is the so-called cannon fodder that will be allowed first on the battlefield. Almost everyone knew this, but not the children. When Naruto left the store, Hiruzen delved into memories of why Kushina's youngest son had become so cold-blooded. Flashback POV Naruto, I've been training for a year now. Kakashi says that I master everything very quickly. Listen to Ku, how do you think can go for Sasuke? Take a walk with her? Naruto mentally asked his best friend, because he hadn't seen his girlfriend for a long time. Yes, you were not mistaken, I wrote to the girl. Although Sasuke continued to love Menma, but her father told her to start dating Naruto, or he would throw her out of the house. With Shinigami's successor, she behaved cheerfully, because she didn't want to be on the street. But everything was raging inside her. Come on, it's boring anyway, so at least you'll talk to someone besides me. Agreed the tailed one inside Naruto. Here he already reaches the Uchiha quarter as he passes by the alley, and looking there he sees, and pow Naruto pow Sasuke, how did this Naruto fuck me, and even an unfinished dad who is ready to do anything for the sake of the clan. How tired I am of pretending to be a cheerful girl next to this asshole, and crying into my pillow at night, and thinking why I need all this. Fuck it all, now I'll go and admit to Menma that I only love him, and then come what may. Sasuke thought, sitting in front of the mirror. Then she got up and walked out of the clan territory. When she left the clan, she saw Menma and quickly ran up to him, grabbed his hand and ran with him into the alley where she said she loved him and pow Sasuke. He sees Sasuke kissing Menma. When he realized what was happening, bloody tracks were already flowing from his eyes, and his emotions were almost completely gone. Now in his head there were thoughts like, Why? For what? What did I do wrong? And here he is about to say something, as Menma's head turns in his direction and he says, "Well, demon, how are you? Hey, can't you even say anything?" he asked mockingly. "I just kissed your girlfriend." Before he could finish, Sasuke interrupts him. "I never considered myself his girlfriend," she said proudly, "and I didn't love this demonic brat." She added, pulling Menma into a new kiss, and our hero, with a broken heart, did not even say anything, went further to the Uchiha quarter, namely to the house of the head of the clan. On the way, he thought that he would not open up to anyone else, and in a couple of years they would see a real demon who would mercilessly kill everyone who did not like him or who would interfere with him. When he was already at the door of the Fugaku house, Minato's youngest son knocked and waited for him to be opened. When Mikoto opened the door to him, and saw the eyes that were looking at her, and the not-dried blood tracks were even more frightening, a lot of goosebumps went through her, because a 6-year-old boy definitely can't have such a look. Such a look could be from those who survived the war or who lost relatives, but definitely not from this kid who, according to Itachi's stories, is a very cheerful guy. Suddenly Naruto gave a voice that the black-haired girl almost jumped. "Can I come through?" He asked the question in a lifeless voice. Con, of course, etc. "Come on in." Sasuke's mother squeezed out of herself and let the guest into the house. When the red-haired man came in, he immediately asked, "Is Fugaku-san at home?" He asked, looking with his diamond blue eyes and at the same time without the life that was in them before. "He's in the office, now wait, I'll call him," she said quickly, and wanted to run away. As Naruto himself went to the office, Fugaku is sitting quietly filling out papers when suddenly the door opens and Naruto comes in without knocking. When Itachi and Sasuke's father saw him, he had the same reaction as Mikoto. "Fugaku-san, with all due respect to you, I refuse to supply seals to the Uchiha clan and marry Sasuke. In general, I do not want to deal with this clan at all. The only one I trust is Itachi." He said this and was about to leave when his interlocutor started shouting. "Naruto, what does this mean?" Fugaku asked menacingly, activating the Sharingan. "Naruto, first of all, don't yell at me," said Naruto, also activating the Sharingan, "and secondly, ask your daughter everything, I think she will explain to you," he said, walking out of the house. Almost a month has passed since that moment. During this time, Naruto stopped selling seals to the clans. Sasuke moved to Menma because Fugaku kicked her out and tried to kill her, but Itachi saved her in time. When Mikoto found out, she left her ex-husband with Itachi. When the elders of the clan found out, they were very dissatisfied with the behavior of the current head, so they put him in prison, and took Uchiha Rengo to the new post of head, fictional Persian, because he was the second most powerful in the clan, after Fugaku, and flashback Naruto's POV, got it, damn them, the loud words were gradually interrupted by the increasing rain. Drop by drop, he turned into a restless downpour that seemed to be saying, "No shouting, I will cleanse you of all your problems, wash them away along with your worries." What is rain for you at all? Just a word describing the weather, or maybe something more? I've always liked rain. For me it's not just empty sounds, but something that calmed the soul and warmed the heart with its wet tentacles. Just imagine, I left the house in order to walk for a short time, plunge into my thoughts, relax, and suddenly over time you realize that you have been walking for too long, forgot about everything in the world and concentrated all attention on nature. Problems fade into the background, they are not important. These are the thoughts that swarm in my head. I think something similar is happening in Naruto's soul, walking down the street like this in the middle of the night, without realizing it, he was thinking less and less about family problems, betrayal and universal hatred. The downpour distinguished itself by understanding, and, like a best friend, tried to help, growing with greater force, forced to forget forever, start a new life and throw away the past. Seeing the efforts of the water monster, Green Lightning came to the rescue, and now, on the street is not the same drizzling rain as at the beginning, but a real storm, a storm of emotions and aching pain in the heart, what he kept in himself all 4 years of his hard life, and so, he decides to run away from home so that he can no longer endure the eternal beatings that his brother and sister gave him every day. When he came home, everyone was asleep except his parents. Naruto realized this from the moans from their bedroom. When the youngest son of Minato and Kushina was climbing the creaking stairs that lead to the second floor, a green lightning struck near the house. Naruto was scared and almost fell down the stairs. Here he is already near his father's office and trying to open the door noiselessly. And when he was already in the office, he quickly began to look for scrolls with fuinjutsu, because his clan owned them very well, and he also thought that he could earn a living by selling seals. Then he took a couple of scrolls with techniques and looked through the window at what was happening on the street, and there was a storm raging everywhere. Raindrops fell, blue, purple and even green lightning flew into the ground. Therefore, he decided to move out early in the morning while everyone was sleeping, to the 35th training ground where he always trained, and POV Naruto POV Minato wa, yawned Minato, it's the same thing every day, the same thing. Is anything going to change? Konoha's black lightning was talking to himself in his head. The father of 3 children, as usual, slowly leaned out from under his wife Kushina Uzumaki Uchiha, the former Uzumaki. She just took the surname Minato, who slept right on him, then went to the bathroom to do water treatments. After, when he went down to the kitchen, he began to cook breakfast for 4, and for Naruto he will leave the leftovers as usual, and POV Minato and now breakfast is ready. Minato gathered everyone except the red-haired one. If anything, he's still red-haired here. And they said itadakimasu in chorus, and began to absorb food. So everyone ate, and everyone went somewhere, Minato to work, Kushina to get groceries, and Menma and Aika, yes, something I completely forgot about her, went as always to give chapels to their brother. But when they ran into his room shouting, "Now the demon will grab Chapelak," they were disappointed there. They did not see him there and thought that he had left early in the morning. Then they ran around the whole village, but they never found him. In the evening, when everyone was already having dinner except for RGG, Menma and Aika said that they had not seen Naruto all day today, and did not know where he was. Minato and Kushina immediately realized that the demon rather ran away from them for everything. When they told their guests to the children, they were very happy that the demon would not live in their family. Time skip hentai. It's been 4 months since the demon moved out from us. Without him at home, there's no one to take out the negativity, anger, in general, everything that has accumulated over the day. Now the head of this village was sitting in his office and thinking about Naruto and how not to be late home. Suddenly someone knocked on the door. Minato looked at the time and was surprised at such a late guest. Here comes Hiruzen. They have a dialogue about Naruto. It's all because of this Naruto. Now I've fallen in the eyes of Hiruzen, a damn demon. I hate this freak, trash. I need to relax, otherwise I'm going to smash something in this office. Uchiha spoke to himself, and teleported behind Kushina, and did a choke, who was now in the bedroom and getting ready for bed. Minato begins to explore the delicate marble skin on her neck with her lips, inhaling a subtle fragrance incomparable to anything, and as if tasting it. Her hands stroke his strong shoulders in response, and his palms unconsciously reach for the zipper of the dress, unbuttoning it. Kushina's soft warm hands deftly take off his turtleneck, her lips reach for his lips, greedily kissing them. Namikaze, already fully confident that Uzumaki is not against it, responds to the kiss and takes off her dress, freeing her slender marble body from the shackles of clothing. His palms wander over her body, strong fingers hastily unbutton the clasp of her bra, and Minato gently puts Kushina on the bed. His lips, passing over the thin skin of an elegant neck, descend lower and touch the collarbones. His hands, stroking his back, instantly soar up, gently squeezing elastic breasts. His tongue weightlessly touches the scarlet nipples. Kushina sighs convulsively, closing her eyes, and hurries to rid her husband of his pants. Below, something begins to pull, slowly flaring up. Minato kisses her stomach, his palms stroking her thighs. Minato, don't pull, Uzumaki asks painfully. Uchiha, hearing his wife, instantly frees them both from the remnants of clothes and, hanging over Kushina, kisses her briefly, entering her body in one sharp movement. She takes a deep breath and relaxes. Hokage clenches his teeth, trying not to start moving right now, and at full speed, Minato gently kisses Kushina, and she leans forward, wrapping her legs around his hips. The blonde begins slow movements, and a quiet moan breaks from Uzumaki's lips. From this, the shinobi just blows the roof off, and he begins to move faster and faster, bringing unthinkable pleasure to both of them. Kushina's moans are getting louder, but she understands that if she screams like that, sooner or later the children will come here. And she really didn't want that. Kushina squeezes Minato's shoulders with her palms, scratching him with her nails and trying to cope with the surging pleasure. The air was hot, and even the coolness of the night could not cool the heated bodies. The movements became faster and faster, causing waves of pleasure to spread through the bodies. A few more thrusts, and Kushina, trying to restrain a loud moan, bends in her back, weakly sinks onto the bed. Minato lets out an animal growl and lies down next to her, hugging her spouse. I love you, he whispers softly, and both fall into the power of sleep. And hentai in the morning, Netapapasha at breakfast thought that as soon as the war begins, he will immediately be the first to send the village's weapons there, otherwise why is it sitting idle? After all, who better than Hokage to know that the situation with the village of Fog is heating up, and in about 5 years there will be a war. He also wanted to bring the Toad Hermit back to the village so that he could train Menma and Aika, and Sanin himself is a good combat unit, but he did not even suspect how this war, which will have the name Blood Lake, will turn out for him and for the whole village in the near future. Soon they will know what death is. This seemingly ordinary boy will be even more afraid than Madara, because his nickname is. Someone will bless him, believing that he has come to punish for the sins that they have committed throughout their miserable lives. Someone will believe that this is a myth, and Konoha people will shake with fear, passing by a dark alley or walking at night, and wait for the one they want to come for them humiliated, the one they threw stones at, the one who swore to himself that they would see the one they wanted to see in him. A demon. If you think there are too many Pavs, then I agree with you. I wonder why there are so many of them. Sometimes we all need privacy to gather our thoughts and take a break from others. However, prolonged loneliness is not only unpleasant, it is dangerous for health. It may seem that Naruto is not alone. He has 3 friends, and even one is constantly in his head. But this is not the case. Naruto is very lonely. I think his friends understand this and want to help him, but they don't know how. But his red-haired schizophrenia knows what our hairy man needs, a girl who will love him, support him and, most importantly, pull him out of the darkness into which he will plunge headlong. Kurama said this more than once, but Naruto just waved it off, replied that no one would love him, and he would love no one, because Uchiha are monogamous. But let's remember that he is a half Uchiha, and this gives a chance that he will fall in love with someone and it will be mutual, or his heart will be broken again, and then he will finally go crazy. Kurama, why is everything like this? Probably sleeping again. Oh, Itachi, he's with his girlfriend. Well, I won't bother them. Maybe try to find Kakashi. At the same time, I'll check my sensor. Vut, I feel it in a restaurant. Did he find a girlfriend? Well, it will be necessary to congratulate him. I'm going to sit on Grandpa's head and watch the sunset. Naruto was saying in his head. Of course, he was upset that all his friends were busy, but he didn't want to interfere with them or impose on them. Here he stands on the head of the 3rd Hokage in his clothes and armor. His red-black hair was blowing in the wind, and his diamond eyes were looking at the red sunset. Naruto involuntarily compared such a beautiful picture with a murder scene. The bright scarlet color covered more and more of the sky, making it seem as if his throat had been cut. I know it's a strange enough comparison, but not for Naruto. Honestly, it looked very fascinating. Naruto decided about 4 months ago to learn how to draw pictures. As his friend said, "You're just an artist," or "It's just a masterpiece." That's how this time he decided to draw this sunset and evening Konoha. And now, when he had almost finished drawing, 2 cute couples were approaching Sarutobi's head. These were Naruto's only friends. When they got closer, they noticed that the red-haired man was painting the sunset as always, and again they began to wonder and tell him to sell his paintings. He got tired of it and said, "And let's see who wants to buy a painting from a demon." My heart ached unpleasantly. He knew that no one would buy it from him. They all immediately frowned, because they also understood this, but suddenly Anko hit Kakashi's rib with her elbow, and he said, "I'll buy it," the ash-haired man says and makes an open-eye smile. Naruto squinted at this, carefully looking at Kakashi, and said that it was free for him. The copyist was very pleased with such a gift, one might say, and said that he would hang it on the wall at home. Then these 2 couples sat down on the head of the third to watch the sunset, and Naruto, so as not to disturb them, went home. On the way home, Gigi saw a lot of lovers, how they had fun together, hugged, laughed and kissed. For some reason, he was either envious or disgusted. But the first Jinchuriki vehemently tried to deny. As a result, he just didn't want to watch it anymore, teleported Hiraition home and, without even eating, went to bed. So the very happy day for the children has come. The day when they will enter the Shinobi Academy. I am sure that almost all of them have an idea about Shinobi, something like, "They will teach me super cool techniques at the academy, and then I will become a Shinobi god," but in fact everything is not like that, and I don't even know why, but the academy doesn't say that they will have to kill the one who will be ordered or the one who will interfere with the village. Parents do not tell their children about this, because they simply do not want to destroy the shaky children's psyche or destroy their children's world. And it is parents or teachers who increase the chance that during a serious task, young and inexperienced genins may die without being able to kill the enemy. Naruto is already walking through the populated streets of the village, watching the children with their parents, brothers and sisters go to the academy. Everyone, when they saw him, pointed and said that the children should not communicate with him and complained, saying how this demon can walk next to them, very peaceful and kind people. Naruto just smiled at this and just walked by. Here he comes to the academy, looking at those who stood there, namely, the Yamanaka family, Uchiha Uzumaki, Hyuga, Nara, Akimichi, Aburame, Inuzuka and a couple without clan. But Naruto, glancing at Itachi, who was standing next to his sister, nodded to him in greeting, and he felt sad, because everyone is led by moms, dads, brothers or sisters, and Naruto is completely alone in this world. He went towards the tree and, standing under it, began to wait for the Hokage. Hokage will come in about 10 minutes, so he decided to talk to his friend. "Listen, Ku, do you think I'll find a loved one?" asked the blue-eyed man, raising his eyes to the sky. Of course you will. Do you even know how many other girls walk the earth?" Kurama supported his friend. "I agree with you, there are a lot of girls, but how many will accept the real me?" "That's right, okay, we'll talk again later. You look, your daddy has come, cheap cannon fodder." He's talking about non-clan, and expensive cannon fodder. He's talking about clan. "I'm sure you'll be useful to the village. And so I wish you all the worst and that you become irreplaceable cannon fodder, on which you can at least work out throws with kunai or shuriken. I hope you will bring me more money and more power, and I also think that you will become the best cannon fodder." Naruto translated the words of Hokage in his head. And Kurama was already almost banging his head against the bars and laughing wildly, At this time the future ANBU only tried to smile, but it turned out very crooked. After the Hokage's speech, everyone was divided into classes and divided into the right classrooms. Here everyone is already sitting and waiting for the teacher, when the door opens and a young guy comes in, looking about 21 to 23 years old, with a scar on the bridge of his nose and brown hair tied back in a ponytail. Hello everyone, my name is Irika Yumano and I am your homeroom teacher. Please contact me Irika-sensei. I am 22 years old, I love ramen, I don't like demon, my hobby is reading, and my dream is to become the director of the academy. Let's introduce yourself too. And so, let's start with, Naruto did not listen further and went to bed. He woke up when the cue was almost on him. Sasuke was talking now. My name is Sasuke Uchiha, I am 9 years old, I love Menma, I don't like demon, she said and looked first at Menma-kun with loving eyes, and then at Naruto with anger and contempt. My hobby is to train, my dream is to marry Menma-kun. Alright, Sasuke, sit down, it will go on. Ika Uchiha Uzumaki. The teacher said, and a girl with yellow hair, purple eyes, and 3 fox whiskers on her cheeks came out to the blackboard, ha ha ha. She was dressed in an orange suit, like Naruto in the canon, and Menma will also be dressed in a suit. When she went to the blackboard, everyone laughed from her clothes, because she looked very funny. My name is Ika Uchiha Uzumaki, she shouted at the whole office, so that everyone's ears were almost stuffed. I'm 8 years old, I love my brother Menma and parents, I don't like a demon, hobbies, dreams and goals, no. She said and went with a pretentious gait, as if to slow-mo, to his place. If that's what I'm writing at 3 a.m., so don't pay attention to this Brad. When Kurama Kuramik saw this through his Jinchuriki's eyes, he burst into wild laughter, so loud that Naruto had to interrupt the mental connection so that his head would not burst. After Menma went, he said almost the same thing as the others. And when it was Gigi's turn, he, just using Shunshin, was near the board and said, Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha, 8 years old, I like it, there is no such thing, I don't like it, everything, hobby, training, the goal is to become a Shinigami, Naruto said briefly. Everyone started laughing with his goal, but he didn't pay attention to it and asked the teacher a question. Can I take the exam externally? From such a question, Irika was in shock, and could not say anything for 10 seconds, but suddenly Menma gets up and shouts, don't fuck yourself, or you'll get a slap, he said, and wanted to continue, but Irika still decided to check what Jinchuriki is capable of. Well, let's see what you can do, said the teacher giving Naruto a piece of paper with assignments, thinking that he would not answer them, but he was very much mistaken. This prodigy coped with the work for the graduating class in 3.5 minutes. Everyone was very surprised by this. Then the teacher said do illusory cloning and henge. When Naruto did this, Yumano said to go to the training ground and throw kunai and shurikens at the target. Naruto threw kunai first, and then shurikens exactly 10 out of 10 in a jump with a sub-turn. Irika just stood in a stupor, but still gave out a bandage and gritted his teeth to congratulate him on the beginning of the shinobi path. It was already September 2nd, morning. 3 people were standing at the training ground in order to check whether Naruto was ready for ANBU or not. Well, kid, you need to defeat the head of the ANBU with the call sign, Raven. Is everyone ready? The old man asked, smoking a pipe, and, noticing 2 short nods, shouted, let's start. And quickly jumped away. Naruto was completely cold-blooded and ready to fight. He knew that it was Itachi and knew that he could cause problems, but not to him, so he decided not to activate the Sharingan yet. Itachi, on the contrary, was ready to fight seriously, and activated the Dojutsu, because he knew what Naruto was capable of and that he could safely defeat one Kage fight. Itachi was already tired of standing still, so he decided to run at his opponent. When he was already a meter away from Naruto, the latter disappeared, being behind Uchiha and kicked him in the back. Itachi was thrown into a tree, but when he crashed into him, he disintegrated into crows. Ts. Clone, Naruto muttered to himself and began to look for his opponent by chakra. When he found it, Itachi was already sending a decent-sized fire dragon to the GG. And I already thought that he had won, because he caught him by surprise, but then, out of nowhere, a combat scythe appears at his throat. He wanted to break up into ravens again, but the scythe touched his throat and a trickle of blood started. I give up. Anbu shouted. Naruto didn't want to hurt his friend, but the fight would have lasted even longer, and Naruto didn't want that end fight. Well done, granddaughter, to defeat Captain Anbu at the age of 8. By the way, your birthday is coming soon. Like October 10th, right? Yes, is it already sclerosis? Naruto said with a sneer. Yes, I have a better memory than you, grandfather began to shout, but then, when he calmed down, he said, tomorrow to the store, and today a raven will give you a tour, you will be my personal Anbu. That is, you will go everywhere with me to events, and perform very difficult missions, the old man said, leaving for his store. Well, come with me, said a friend of the younger son of Hokage, heading to the root base. If anything, Hiruzen is the head of the root. Come on, we'll get you an Anbu tattoo first, said Naruto's escort, and they went to the tattoo artist. When they arrived there was a man in a monkey mask sitting there. Well, lie down, now we'll get you a tattoo on your left shoulder, said the tattoo artist and began to fill the tattoo. After Itachi decided to take a tour of the complex. He showed where the dining room, restroom, rooms and where they receive tasks, but Naruto will receive them personally from the boss. The next day there were 2 people in the store, they were a teacher and a student. Their names were Hiruzen and Jiraiya. They were talking about Jiraiya's student, Minato Uchiha. Hiruzen expressed everything he thinks about him and that Minato doesn't care about her child. Jiraiya tried to twist his student, but everything was smart, because Sarutobi said that his son would come soon and tell everything. After about 7 minutes, Naruto comes, and the old man asks to tell how Minato and Kushina treated him. After the story, Jiraiya already doubted his student, and decided to talk to him about it now. He said goodbye to Naruto and Hiruzen and headed to the Hokage's office. POV Jiraiya, So I returned to the village. Minato said that it was time to train his children and the war was coming soon. I wonder how the teacher is. We need to visit him first. The hermit mused. Here he comes to the Sarutobi quarter and asks a passerby where you can find Hiruzen. Jiraiya of course immediately recognize and say where their clansman usually lives. After a short journey, the hermit finds this door and, going inside, sees the one he was looking for. Hello, teacher, he said cheerfully. Oh. What people? Did you really decide to visit the old man? The old man asked a question with a hint that his student had not visited him for a long time. Jiraiya awkwardly scratched his head and sat down on the sofa that was in the store. Well, how was the trip? Oh, yes, as usual, the white-haired man waved off, because he wanted to find out faster what had happened during the time he was not in the village. And how is it here in the village? What's new? In general, everything is the same as before, but I really don't like Minato. He has fallen in my eyes, I have no respect for him. He wanted to continue, but the interlocutor interrupts him. What happened? And why do you say that about him? Jiraiya was at a loss what his disciple had done that Hiruzen would say that about him. He, like Kushina, can be said to have abandoned their child. They beat him, didn't feed him, humiliated him, what can I say, what his brother and sister did to him. Because of this, he left them and has been training with Kakashi and Itachi for 3 years. Hiruzen explained. This is probably a joke, right? I don't believe it. Jiraiya thought that his disciple couldn't do such a thing and insisted on his own. Hiruzen was already tired of this and he said, so Naruto will come here soon and tell you everything. he said with a prominent vein on his forehead. About 7 minutes pass, the door opens and Minato's youngest son enters. All these minutes, Jiraiya was thinking about what Hiruzen had said. And the latter asks to tell Jiraiya what his father is like. After Naruto's story, Jiraiya said goodbye to the teacher and the boy and went to the Hokage's office for a serious conversation. Minato, Kushina and Team Number 9 were in the office now. Minato was going to issue a mission and do business with Kushina. So the team went on a D-rank assignment, and Kushina was about to get up and go to her husband when his teacher appeared. Well, hello, little Minato, we haven't seen each other for a long time, said the great pervert, and shook hands with the student when he wanted to sit on the sofa, turned around, saw his student's wife. Oh, Kushina, you're here too, I just need to talk to you. Tell us how your children are doing, what is their strength level and have they trained at all? Well, in general, everything is fine with them, although they did not train. But there's just one problem, with Naruto, Minato said, hesitating. What about him? Jiraiya asked, already guessing what the fourth Hokage would say. Well, how would it be right to say, Hokage mumbled, thinking about how to say it so as not to fall in the eyes of the teacher. Don't. I know everything, I want to say that I didn't expect this from you. In my eyes, you were a great man who killed 1,000-stone army in seconds, but now in my eyes you are pathetic. You blame everything on a little boy who was just born then, and you condemned him to all this. I refuse to be considered your teacher, said Sanin Toad and went to the hotel to think everything over and figure out what to do next. And POV Jiraiya Naruto was already doing his first assignment as ANBU at this time. After Jiraiya left, Hiruzen, to begin with, gave Naruto a rank A task, the purpose of which was to kill a smuggler named Gato, who is in the land of waves. Naruto immediately moved there. The journey was 2 days without rest. And so, when he was on the spot, he asked the locals and they told him where the Gato mansion was located. The mansion was guarded by 10 bandits and about 100 inside. Naruto decided to wait and attack at night, so it will be faster, because most of them will sleep. Here, under the cover of night, Naruto kills the guards without any problems and feels something like pleasure. The pleasure of blood and murder. And in a fit of pleasure, he cuts out everyone who was there and only Gato remained alive. Naruto didn't like this little guy in a tuxedo and black glasses right away. He quickly killed him and burned down the entire mansion. After that, on the way to the village, I sold it on the black market, getting 1 million Ri for it. These were his first murders. He liked to kill and feel how opponents were afraid of you, to feel their blood on his skin. Naruto decided for himself that now he will kill as much as possible, because the only thing he can feel now is the pleasure of killing and blood on his hands. He arrived in the village 2 days later, in the morning, covered in blood. And immediately went to hand over the mission report. Mission accomplished, detailed information is in the scroll, said ANBU in a Shinigami mask, handing the scroll to the professor. Well, you have 2 days of rest, said Hiruzen, because he thought it was hard for him to survive the first murder. Hi, said Naruto and disappeared in red and black lightning. Uzumaki Uchiha appeared at home to wash off the blood and go to practice at his favorite training ground number 7. When Naruto approached the training ground, he saw Itachi training his younger sister. Gigi didn't want to be near her, but he had nowhere else to train. It was his favorite place, not counting the head of the third. When he got close enough, Itachi appeared next to him and greeted him by shaking hands, and Sasuke started shouting what this demon was doing here. When she shouted it, her older brother was next to her and wanted to give her a hat, but Naruto caught his hand and said that he was not offended by her. Then Itachi left a clone with Sasuke, and he began to ask how his friend's first mission went. Naruto lied to him and said that he just killed one Gato and left. After that, they sparred and Naruto won, as usual. Time skip a year has passed at such a pace. Now he had about 50 S and S plus rank missions on his account in total. Due to his combat experience, Naruto was stronger than all the Kage combined. Everyone is preparing for war, because it will already begin next week. Sand said that he would help Leaf, because they are in an alliance. As Minato said, the village's weapons will be the first to go to the battlefield. Naruto was very pleased with this, because for the entire service he was able to kill about 1,000. And here he will be able to kill about 3,000 at a time. He was very happy. He was given leave for this week to prepare himself. All week he sharpened the scythe, cleaned the gunbai and armor. This week has already passed. Naruto was standing near the gate, his friends and an old man came to see him off. When they said goodbye, the red-haired man moved out. It is necessary to move for about a day without stopping. With stops, Naruto got to the army no longer. Well, shall we dance? Anbu asked the masked Shinigami with a bloodthirsty smile that couldn't be seen because of the mask. Everyone started laughing that Konoha sent one person. But then the head of the first 100 flew off, and Naruto was no longer in his place. He moved so fast that no one could keep track of him. When the first 1,000 had already fallen, everyone began to panic, because he was killing them as unnecessary kittens. But then Naruto stopped and stood in front of them and began to talk. First I will kill you, and then the inhabitants of your village. I will kill everyone. Everyone who gets in my way. Kushina's youngest son shouted. Activating the Mange-kai, he continued, do you want clones with or without Susanoo? Although, I'll decide for you, he said, creating clones that activated the perfect defense and attack of the Uchiha and simply fell on the army, killing them by the hundreds. His Susanoo was white, approximately 100 meters tall with 4 arms and wings. He had a bow, a tanto and a shield from weapons. When everyone had already died, Naruto, with the help of his Mangekyo and a technician, dug a hole and filled it with blood. After that, he began to bathe in the blood of his enemies, but then he felt the people who were watching him, Minato and Anbu. He climbed out of his bloody lake covered in blood, and shouted, come out, I know you're here. Minato and Konakovsky Anbu appeared in front of him. Minato wanted to attack, but the bloody Shinigami just knocked him out by transfusing some blood into his head, and the others were already without a head. For Naruto, it was a chance to escape from the village and he did not miss it, running away towards the village of Mist. After 10 hours he arrived in the village. When Naruto came to the gate, he killed the guards and went on. He killed by pouring all the blood of people into their heads and they just exploded. Everyone who was on his way to the residence, children, women, men, old people, all died. He was beside himself with joy at the realization that he had killed so many people. Kurama tried to take control of his body to stop him, but Naruto wouldn't let him do it. When he arrived at the residence, all his clothes and he was covered in blood. Mizukage, when she saw him, looked out the window that overlooked the village and was horrified. All the streets were covered with the blood of innocent people. Naruto liked her, so he decided not to kill her. Anbu appear here and their heads explode instantly. They didn't even have time to do anything to. Don't worry, beauty, I won't kill you, said the former Anbu Konoha. Who said you could do it? Mei tried to say confidently, but her voice was shaking and Naruto heard it. I really liked you, Mei-chan, so I won't kill you if you come with me, said the man who defeated the army of the mist. He was sure that she would agree. Mei was a slender, green-eyed, attractive girl of tall stature with elegant features. She has long, disheveled brown hair. On top of her head, Mei gathers them into a small bundle tied with a blue elastic band. Bangs completely hide the right eye. 2 long curls intersect on the chest, just below the collarbones and partially hide them. She is dressed in a blue dress with open shoulders and long sleeves, a deep neckline on the chest and a knee-length fragrance. The dress is fastened with a zipper, which is visible only on the bodice. Net underwear is worn under it. The dress is decorated with a thin belt of a light yellow shade with a silver buckle. A bag is attached to it from behind. Under the smell, you can see a mini skirt to match the dress. She wears mesh tights under her dress. On her feet she wears long gray boots with open toes, knee pads and high heels. Her toenails are painted blue. Also, her lips are painted with dark blue lipstick. Okay, I agree, I'm still tired of the role of Mizukage and all these pieces of paper, she said, because Mei herself wanted to leave the post soon and leave the village, and then such a strong guy got under her arm and she felt that she would lose to him, she could be safe with him. She took off Kage's hat and put it on the table, following Naruto. Tell me about yourself, because I don't even know your name, and where are we going? After a few minutes of silence, Mei asked the question that, I am the bloody Shinigami, or Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha, you can say the abandoned son of Minato Uchiha, for Hokage and Kushina Uzumaki, bloody Habanera, the former Anbu Konoha, and I killed your entire army and escaped from that village to avenge the fact that they mocked me. When he finished the story, he took off his mask and appeared in front of Terumi, a light-skinned boy. He was wearing a long-sleeved black shirt and black pants. He also wore the same color trousers with bandages on his shins and simple shinobi shoes. His hair was waist-length, and his bangs covered most of his right eye. There were several scars on his body, the scar hidden behind the bangs on his right eye stood out. He wore red armor over his suit with numerous plates. The upper part of the body was protected by a breastplate, to which hip and shoulder shields were attached. During the battle, Naruto often used a yellow-brown gun with a long black chain attached to the handle and a combat scythe with a green lightning bolt on the blade. The kanji was emblazoned on his forehead. Mei involuntarily stared at such a handsome man and realized that she liked him too. And we are heading to some small village in the land of fire. If they look for us there, they will soon find out that I killed your whole village and they will think that I took you prisoner, because your corpse will not be there. Now Naruto was not as cold-blooded as usual, he began to fall in love again, this time with this red-haired girl. His Biju was only happy about this, because now his Jinchuriki will not go completely off the rails. They decided to stop at the one closest to the border with Kyumo in order to escape to the land of lightning if anything. So far they are not in the bingo book yet. Naruto is very happy about this, because they will be able to take a break and live quietly for another couple of weeks. He decided that he would devote himself to Mei for the next 2 weeks. They even rented one room and sleep on the same bed. They don't mind because they are slowly starting to fall in love with each other. When they rented a room, they immediately fell on the bed and fell asleep. The next morning, as soon as the rays of the sun fell on Naruto's face, he opened his sleepy eyes and felt that something heavy was lying on him. He looked down and saw Mei lying on his chest, snoring sweetly. Although Naruto was 9 years old, he was quite tall, 153 to 157. He stared at her pretty face and began stroking her brown hair. From this, she woke up and looked at Naruto. The girl looked at his thin lips and barely fought her desire to kiss him, but suddenly Naruto kisses her on the cheek and says, "It's already morning, it seems, and the sun is still sleeping, it's time to get up," Naruto said in a rather soft voice and tried to smile. Mei blushed from such a compliment and, quickly getting up, went to the bathroom to do her business. Naruto calmly got up and went to cook muesli. The type there is some grain and you pour milk. Thumbs up. When Terumi got out of the bath, she went to the kitchen to see what Uzumaki Uchiha had done. They ate quickly and went for a walk around the village. Mei really wanted to know about the life of the one she fell in love with, so she asked everything that was possible and impossible. When it was already evening, they went to the bar to sit there for a while and have a snack. When they came in, they immediately caught the eye of the legendary loser, Tsunade Senju. She was drinking alcohol, and next to her stood her student and assistant in one person, Shizen Kato, and she had a little pig Tauntaun in her arms. Naruto and Mei decided to approach and ask Tsunade to help Naruto with his emotions. "Hello, Tsunade-sama," Naruto greeted. "Can you please help with something, boy? Who are you and why should I help you?" asked Tsunade a question. "I am Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha and I want you to help me with emotions," introduced himself. "And this is my companion, Mei Terumi. Isn't this the 5th Mizukage?" The slug princess was surprised. "Okay. I will help you, but you will be charged 10 million ri," Grandma agreed and set a condition. "We agree," said Naruto, taking out the required amount from the press. "Tomorrow at the hotel in room 15, he said and pulled Mei to the exit. In the room, Naruto cooked rice and, after eating, started a conversation. "Listen, Mei-chan, I'll probably sleep on the couch. It seems to me that there is no need to rush our relationship so much," said the bloody Shinigami. "No, Naruto-kun, you will sleep with me on the bed, otherwise you will get sick," said the former Mizukage with a slight blush. Naruto did not argue and, after washing, went to sleep next to Mei. The girl moved her back closer to Naruto, subtly hinting that he hugged her. He is not stupid and understood the hint, hugging her and falling asleep with a slight smile on his lips. In the morning, someone knocked on their door, waking up a sleeping couple. Quickly gathering and opening the door, they let Sanina and her assistant into the room. All the procedures took about 4 hours. Naruto immediately noticed the changes and smiled a sincere smile, looking at Mei. She, in turn, blushed from such a smile. Naruto, thanking and repaying Tsunade, escorted them out of the house. But Tsunade warned him that another emotional breakdown and he would no longer know his emotions. Closing the door behind them, he walked up to Mei and kissed her on the cheek, saying, "Can we meet?" Surprised at himself and his suddenness, he asked with a blush on his cheeks. Apparently the result of the treatment was making itself felt. For Mei, this came as a surprise and literally for a few moments she froze, digesting the information, after which, of course, she agreed and began to hug him, pressing him to her chest. Naruto was already red as a cancer, but still hugged, already his girlfriend, in response. Since then, a week has passed since they live in this town and Naruto decided to build a house away from people next to some waterfall where animals live, that is, in the forest. He had already purchased materials and found a suitable place. It was very beautiful there, a transparent clear waterfall with iridescent fish in the water, birds that, as if hearing that guests had come to them, sang the most beautiful serenades, a flat terrain hidden deep in the forest and not allowing anyone to be curious to the eyes. There are many peaceful and wild animals that Naruto was going to breed. A month later, Naruto built a 2-story house with 5 rooms, 2 bathrooms, 1 kitchen and a living room. On the street, near the house, there were a variety of flowers, which were mostly tended by Mei, and Naruto trained and spent the rest of his time with her. In general, Naruto was already going to leave revenge behind and live a new happy life, but something was bothering him. He tried not to focus his attention on this and lived quietly. Naruto decided that in order to protect Mei, he needed more strength and decided to go to the free draft. "Listen, Mei-chan, I've decided to go to the free draft here. I may be gone for a couple of years, so I want you to be safe. I'll leave my bloody clone here. Why is it taking so long?" Mei asked the question and turned away, puffing out her cheeks, showing with all her appearance that she was offended. Naruto, already knowing what to do in such situations, came up and kissed her on the cheek, said, "I'll try to get back as soon as possible, Mizukage-sama," the guy said in a gentle voice and quipped, "Okay, and just try to look at the women there," the girl said in a threatening tone, glancing warningly at the boy, after which she smiled weakly and kissed him on the lips. Naruto, having folded the seals of the summoning, appeared at the ravens, summoning his friend. He appeared on an air island. There were hundreds, maybe thousands of them around. A large black raven flew up to him and croaked, how did you get here and who are you? I am Uzumaki Uchiha Naruto. I got here by folding the seals of free summoning. Uchiha again. You're the second one who got into this world. I'll take you to our senior, he'll tell you if you can sign a contract, and maybe even learn Senjutsu mod, said the raven and landed next to Naruto so that he sat on it. When the latter climbed on the raven, it took off, heading for the largest island that Naruto had seen. When they arrived, there was a huge, old, black raven standing there. Suddenly he began to speak. You deserve to be our Sannin. You are the man from the prophecy that Hagoromo spoke about, you are the boy who will destroy or save this world. I feel that there used to be a lot of darkness in you, but now there is practically no darkness in your heart. I hope it stays that way. You'll be here for 10 years. 10 years here, 1 year there. Okay, I agree, time skip. 10 years have passed since Naruto got here, he learned everything he could, and even got prettier in appearance. The mode of Sannin Voronov gave a huge advantage in combat due to his abilities. Naruto had black pigmentation around his eyes, wings grew, he could shoot feathers, his sensory system increased and he became stronger, faster, and the reaction increased 10 times. It was time to say goodbye and Naruto was sad, because for all these 10 years he had become very close friends with them all. Goodbye, it was an honor for me to study with you. You call us more often, otherwise it's boring here. Cawed some raven from the crowd. Naruto quietly yuginal, nodding, then folded the seals and appeared. In short, changed this world a little more and now, instead of 4 to 5 years of studying at the academy, I just don't remember how long they studied there, let them now study there for 2 years. He appeared at the training ground near the house where he used the call. Naruto, having got his bearings where he appeared, headed towards a familiar 2-story house. When he entered the house, a clean living room appeared before him. Going into the kitchen, he saw Mei and his clone. Naruto quietly came up from behind and hugged his girlfriend, gently whispering in her ear that he was back. Mei whirled around. The girl was very surprised that her lover had changed so much and now became her age, but then, moving away from surprise, she passionately kissed him on the lips, putting into this kiss all her emotions accumulated over a year of absence. After the kiss, Naruto offered to go for a walk in the forest and look at nature, because he had not been here for a long time. During the walk, Naruto enjoyed Terumi's presence. Walking through the forest for about 3 hours, they reached the city and decided to go to the joint hot springs. They were lucky and there was no one at the springs. When they were already sitting in the spring and kissing, a team from Konoha came into the baths. They were Kushina, Menma, Aika and Sasuke. When team number 5 saw Naruto and Mei, Menma began to shout loudly and be indignant. They say, "What is Naruto doing here and let him give Mei to him?" Aika shouted that she would kill the demon, and Sasuke did not say anything, but she was angry at Menma because he paid attention to that ant. But she was prepared to the battle, which Kushina also did. A criminal of S+ rank, Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha, known by the nickname Bloody Shinigami, who killed the entire army of Fog alone and almost all the inhabitants of the village of Fog. The reward for the head is 666 million Ri. The red-haired woman told the information that was in the bingo book. At that moment, Naruto didn't really want to get into the fight, but he saw how Kushina began to release her chains from her back, attacking the couple. Naruto quickly picked up Mei in his arms and dodged. He used Hiration to teleport Mei into the house, and he decided to try to talk to them. How are things in the village after I left? Naruto asked, standing naked. It's much better there without you. Menma exclaimed and ran with kunai to Naruto. He dodged by crouching down, after which, with quick movements, he broke his arm, and then 2 legs. No one even realized what had happened, as the elder son of the Hokage was already lying on the ground and screaming in pain. If you calmly leave now, you will stay alive, and if not, then you will all die, or I will exchange you for something," Naruto said with a bloodthirsty smile. Konoha shinobi never give up. Shouting and repeating her brother's mistake, she ran at the naked Naruto with kunai Ike. He didn't bother with her for a long time, but simply folded his fingers into the shape of a pistol and shot her in the head with a water bullet, which was so fast that no one noticed how it flew out of his finger. Ike's body falls to the ground breathlessly. Kushina runs up to her, and when she noticed that she could not be returned, she also wanted to attack her younger son, but it was too late. Naruto knocked her out, and Menmi cut his throat with his own kunai. "I won't kill you, because you're my friend's sister. But tell the Hokage that if he sends someone else after me, there will be no village hidden in the leaf anymore. Also, if he wants, let him ask Itachi to send me a letter asking for an exchange," said Uzumaki, Uchiha, and smiled thoughtfully, knowing already that he would ask Minato. Chorus. "Good," Sasuke said, shaking with fear, and hurriedly ran away towards Konoha, dropping tears behind her, because a loved one had just been killed in front of her eyes. Naruto picked up Kushina's body, and sealed his clothes and his girlfriend's clothes. When he arrived home, he took a chair in one of the rooms, putting it in the middle of the room on the second floor, then planted it, and then tied Uzumaki on it. Then he gave the clothes to his beloved and dressed himself to, "My dear, I'm going to torture Kushina now. If you think I'm going to do something indecent with her, then you can watch. No, my love, I trust you completely, and I know that you love me alone," Terumi said, and kissed the red black-haired man. Naruto went to the second floor and entered the second room on the right. Kushina had already woken up. He put another chair in front of the Hokage's wife and started a conversation. "Well, Mom," Naruto said, smiling, "your team was almost all killed, you were captured, are you happy with this arrangement?" Naruto asked, but she didn't answer. "Do you know what I will ask in return for you? I'll ask for your husband's beautiful eyes, because, you know, something, and Mangekai is not a toy," he said, looking at her with an activated Sharingan. "Son, come home, please, we're all waiting for you there." She was about to say something else when she was interrupted by Naruto's loud laughter. "Son? Come back? Home? Waiting? You're laughing. After you, one might say, kicked me out of the house, beat me, didn't feed me and wanted to spit on me, you say come back and dare to call me your son, woman." Naruto said loudly and took out a kunai, passing it over the woman's cheek and going down a little lower. "Son, what are you doing?" she started to say, but a savory slap flew at her. "I told you that I'm not your son anymore," he said, and ran a kunai through his clothes, cutting it all. "Well, will you tell me about Konoha and her weaknesses, or will you have to be tortured?" "I won't tell you anything," Uzumaki said and spat in Naruto's face. You don't learn from mistakes. That's what your daughter said, and what's wrong with her now? She's dead. And it's all your fault," he whispered in her ear and ran his kunai over her smooth skin on her chest and stomach. Suddenly, a raven suddenly arrives with a letter. "You're lucky, but never mind, I'll be back," he said and went to the window. Taking the letter, he began to read it. POV letter: Dear Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha, we ask you not to make hasty decisions and actions, we agree to all your conditions, Minato Uchiha. And POV letter: your hubby is ready to do anything to get you back. Naruto wrote an answer with his conditions in a letter and sent the same raven with a letter back. Naruto tortured Kushina for the next 2 hours, but did not find out anything. He did not want to find out information with Sharingan, he wanted to try it. Kushina was covered in cuts from kunai, somewhere the skin was burned, somewhere there were no pieces of skin at all. When he was done, he went to Mei's bedroom, in Konoha. When they found out what Naruto had done, Minato was furious that his children were killed and his wife was captured. But he still decided not to risk his wife and do everything wisely by gathering a council. He called a meeting of the clan heads and elders immediately. I declare the meeting open. Minato said loudly. Hokage-sama, why did you call us all together? Hayashi asked Hugo. Today, team number 5 was attacked by the most dangerous renegade Konoha, Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha, or Bloody Shinigami. He killed my daughter and son, and took my wife prisoner. Only Sasuke returned back to the village, because she is his friend's sister, he let her go. Said the sad Hokage. Did he demand something in exchange for your wife? Asked the assistant Hokage and the elder in one person, Shikaku Narada. Yes, he said that if we send someone after him, he will destroy the village, and offered an exchange, which we don't know yet, but there is a suspicion that he wants my eyes. Maybe he already has problems with Mange-kai. Hiruzen-sama, do you have something to offer? Minato answered and asked with pleading in his eyes. No, Minato, you are to blame for what your son did. You threw him out on the street, you humiliated him, you didn't feed him, you beat him, you. I'm not going to help, he's like a grandson to me. If he takes revenge on you, I'll forgive him, even though it won't be right, said the retired Hokage, without pulling his beloved pipe out of his mouth. The third one is Sama. You understand that now the criminal Konoha has taken a prisoner and is probably torturing him, and you don't want to help. This can be counted as a betrayal, Minato said angrily, looking at Hiruzen. Ho ho ho, how did you sing, Minato? So it's your own fault, and now you want to say that it's all because of me. Hiruzen began to speak with raised corners of his lips. So listen here, you're still a pathetic kid who has done a lot of things and is trying to blame someone else for them. Do you know, then you can also be considered a criminal. Firstly, bullying children. Secondly, stealing money from the treasury. Thirdly, it was you who provoked the war between Konoha and the Fog. I can continue this for a long time. Oh, how long? Began to run over and list the sins of Minato, the old man. Everyone from such a notable prio and looked in surprise in the direction of the Hokage himself. What can he say in justification? But Minato didn't say anything. I suggest that Naruto go to a meeting and fulfill his requests, if they are, of course, doable. Nara decided to break the silence. Everyone agreed with him and the meeting ended. Minato, having written an answer and sent it through Itachi's Raven, went home, but he could not fall asleep. He could not accept the death of his daughter and son. 5 days have passed. All these days Naruto had been asking Kushina for information about Konoha and arranged a meeting with Minato in the city of Tenzaku. Naruto left the clones with Mei and, sealing Uzumaki in a scroll, ran to the meeting place. When he arrived, Minato was already standing there. Hello, Minato-san. Naruto said hello. Where is my wife and what do you want in exchange for her? The head of the village hidden in the foliage immediately asked the question. Oh, how impolite you are. The red black-haired man spoke mockingly and, having printed out the Kushina from the scroll, said, Here's your wife, I want your eyes. Okay, but promise me you'll let her go. Hokage spoke with caution. I promise. Naruto said and stretched out his hand, as suddenly about 50 ANBU attack him. GG just smiled and started the fight. For Naruto, the fight was boring. Punch, block, punch, punch, kick, dodge, hooking, raikiri. At this rate, he killed 40 ANBU. He simply plunged the rest into genjutsu and tortured them there for 100 years, when in reality only 2 seconds had passed. When all the special forces soldiers died, Naruto was a little upset, but for a snack he left the main opponent, his father. He decided to kill him slowly right in front of Kushina. He just uses his Sharingan to pour some blood into his head and he passes out. When Uchiha woke up, he realized that he was in some kind of basement, and his wife was sitting opposite him. Then the creaking door opens and their youngest son enters. He approaches his father and first pulls out his eyes, and puts them in a jar of liquid so that they will not suffer during the torture. He whispered in the ear of the Black Lightning, so that while he was being tortured, he counted -7 from 1,000. Then Minato goes crazy and a massacre begins. He kills Naruto and says that he is Gogol. Then there is an opening from the Tokyo Sakura attack and, in the end, Tenten appears and begins a battle with the reborn Madara who absorb Jubi and Madara loses. Tenten becomes a shinobi god. And, he started pulling out his toenails and hands, then pulling out his hair and eyelashes, and in the end, when Minato was almost crazy, he injected needles right into the place where the nails were. He would have gone nuts if he had survived, but he died of pain shock. When Kushina watched this, she was already just crying. But then Naruto comes up to her and says, "I've already told you what madness is, huh?" Kushina was crying and didn't pay attention, but then Naruto breaks into a scream. I asked a question, "Do you know what madness is?" No, Uzumaki barely squeezed out of herself. Insanity is the exact repetition of the same action. Time after time, hoping for a change. This is madness. When I first heard it, I don't remember who said that shit, killed him. The point is, okay, he was right. And then I began to see it everywhere. Everywhere you look, these fools. Everywhere you look, they do exactly the same thing, over and over and over and over and over. And they think, now everything will change. No, 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 please. Now everything will be different. Sorry. I don't like how you're looking at me. Okay? Naruto shouted and hit the chair on which Minato's corpse was sitting with his hand so that he flew all the way to the other end of the room. Do you think I have a problem with my head? Do you think I'm lying to you? Fuck you. Okay? Went in the ass all right. I'll calm down, Mom, I'll calm down. The point is, okay. The point is that I killed you. Already. And it's not that I'm fucked up, got it? It's like water under a bridge. I've already told you what madness is. When I ran away from home, and in the house, they constantly tried to kill me, but it didn't work out for you, you made me the way you wanted me to be. Soon their pleas will be in every corner of Konoha, I will arrange it for them. No matter how much they tried, they didn't kill me. After that, he just cut his mother's throat and went to transplant his dad's eyes to himself. After taking revenge for the fact that they mocked him, it was like a stone fell from his soul. Thank you for the hunt, Kenmakun. Uncle YouTube condemns this and slapped ban Kenmakun. He tells the respected Tatsu-san to cut everything out quickly, otherwise it will end badly. When Naruto transplanted Minato's eyes to get the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Mei took care of him for 3 days. She really liked to take care, feed and do everything next to him. Our GG was very grateful to her. Naruto's birthday is coming soon and Mei kept thinking what to give him, well, and the culprit of the event himself said, "You are the best gift for me." Mei smiled back at him, but after much thought, she still came up with what to give him. The morning of the 10th of October began as usual. Naruto opened his sleepy eyes, and his girlfriend was sleeping on him, as usual, with her leg thrown over him. When Mei woke up, she kicked her boyfriend out into the street and told him to come back in the evening. When the sun began to set, the birthday boy went home. When he entered the hut and went to the kitchen, there was a lot of different food on the table and a big cake with the numbers 20. Naruto just smiled, as if to prove that 32 is not the limit, and they began to celebrate. When they went to bed, Mei came out of the shower in a translucent white robe. Under the blue moonlight, she walked slowly to the bed with the grace of a cat and climbed on top of her lover, sitting astride his hips. Grinning, she slowly bent down, starting to kiss him passionately, "And here is my present." Terumi said softly and tenderly in his ear. The girl bit her lip, looking at the slightly surprised Uzumaki Uchiha, after which she grinned and began to slowly descend lower, covering his entire body with kisses. The guy wanted to roll over and crush the girl under him, being on top, but Mei forcefully pressed on his shoulders with her delicate fingers and in a quiet half-moan stretched out, "Today is your day. I'll do everything myself." Terumi, continuing to kiss the guy's chest and abs, began to take off his underpants with her free hand and undressed herself. After getting rid of unnecessary clothes, she turned around, lying down. They made their children. The next morning, after such a stormy night, Naruto began to think about the proposal and decided to make it for Mei's birthday. In the meantime, the price was raised for Naruto and the rank was raised. Now the cost is 2 billion, and the rank was SS++, because now the person who killed the fourth Hokage, the fastest man on earth, for the one who defeated the entire army of fog, there should be a fairly large fee. Now he is not a criminal only in the land of lightning and land. Let me remind you, Sand is an ally of the leaf. He decided to go to his native village soon and do what he had promised himself for so long, to show who the bloody Shinigami was. He learned from Kushina that there would be an exam for Chunin in a year, and, it seems, their informants found out that Orochimaru should attack at the third stage. Well, in the meantime, he spent time with his beloved. They went to the springs, gambled and even hunted Nukanins a couple of times. And then Mei's birthday came. From the very morning Naruto began to give her gifts. First he gave her a very beautiful blue dress with a neckline on the chest, then took her to a restaurant. In the evening they came home and Naruto gave her a picture where Mei was in full growth. She really liked it, but the girl said that it would be better if he was here. And when the sunset began, Naruto moved them to the highest point in the area, from where it was possible to clearly see him, and so, Uzumaki Uchiha in a black suit gets down on one knee in front of his girlfriend and says, "Mei, when I first saw you, I really liked you and that's why I decided to take you with me and protect you. I also want to thank you for returning my emotions and for all those warm moments that we spent together, for not letting me fall into darkness and in general, thank you for everything you do for me. I can't live without you anymore and that's why I decided to make you a marriage proposal so that you would always be there and look after me," Naruto said, worried, although he did not think that she would refuse, but everything could be. "Of course I agree, you fool." And now Mei Uzumaki Uchiha jumped on Naruto and knocked him to the ground, starting to kiss him and thank him for everything. In their married quiet life, half a year has passed and Naruto decided to rid this land of another village called Konoha, POV Leaf Village. After they found out what Naruto had done, they began to be afraid of him. Many were still sad about the fourth Hokage, but they decided, together with the village of Sand and the remaining shinobi of the fog, to start looking for this criminal. Kakashi Hatake was chosen as the new Hokage, even though he didn't really want that. He knew that sooner or later he would face Naruto in a life-and-death battle, and since he is the Hokage of this village, he should be ready to give his life for her. With Itachi, everything was worse, because Minato helped the clan as much as he could, and he was killed. Then Itachi began to look contemptuously and throw insults in his direction. He could not live under such pressure in his direction, and even his girlfriend could not stop Uchiha from suicide, and after his beloved and Izumi cut her wrists. Then only Hiruzen, Kakashi, Sasuke, a couple of Anbu and his best friend Shisui came to their funeral. All these people grieved for them very much, and Naruto didn't even know that his friend had died. Kakashi told Sensei to just agree to Naruto's terms and then the village would not suffer, but he disobeyed him and attacked. And what do we have in the end? Now minus the fourth Hokage, Naruto will attack soon and maybe we will even lose to him. 5 Hokage has increased the number of people around the perimeter of Konoha, and now every person is checked at the gate, and POV Leaf Village. This time Naruto woke up, to his surprise, later than Mei, from the delicious aroma of food from the kitchen. He quickly did all his business, ran to the kitchen and, arriving at the place, saw his wife cooking ramen. Naruto came up and started kissing her neck and was about to undress her, as Mei said, "Naruto, let's not now, please," the former Mizukage asked with a plea in her eyes. Naruto pulled away and sat down at the table to wait for the food of the gods. "Listen, Naruto, why would you destroy Konoha?" the former Terumi asked, because she did not understand why her husband wanted to destroy the village. "If she's gone, then we can live in peace," he said, sinking into dreams. "But are we already living peacefully or not?" the brown-haired woman asked with surprise. "They have assembled a squad that is looking for us, and if they find us, then we will not live in peace, and I want you to be safe and happy," he began in an irritated voice, and ended with a soft and caring one. Mei just nodded and they started eating. Naruto was already heading with full uniforms towards Konoha, and humming a song to himself. 1, 2 Naruto to visit wait, shut 3, 4 doors, 5, 6, squeeze the kunai tighter, 7, 8, will rip your belly open, 9, 10 don't hope anymore. Now the third stage of the Chunin exam was beginning in Konoha. Naruto had to walk to this village for another 20 minutes. There is a fight between Temari and Shikamaru in the village now. Hokage and Kazekage are sitting in the Kage boxes. All the people rejoiced when there was a massacre in the arena and there was a lot of blood. It was heard already by Naruto, who had already cut all the guards at the gate. Anbu immediately appeared in front of him, with whom he began, as if playing, to fight. Kakashi immediately reported that Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha attacked Konoha, so he immediately gave the order to stop the exam and wanted to go fight with his former friend, as Kazekage stops him. He turns his head and wants to ask what happened, but when he saw Orochimaru instead of the race, he understood everything and started a battle with Sannin. Naruto has already killed those Anbu and slaughtered the whole village on the sly, but then Asuma, Kurenai and Guy appear before him. He laughed and said with a smile, "Do you really think you're going to stop me? Even the Anbu and the army of the mist could not stop me, but you are too brave, so you will die not by my hand, but by the paws of the Kubi," he said, folding the seals of the call and pronouncing the name of Biju. Flashback: Naruto was in the world of his summoning when a not-so-bad idea came to mind. Why not remove the seal from Kurama, his best friend, who would definitely not betray him? He went into the subconscious and asked Kyubi, "Salam, Kurama, how can I open this cage?" Naruto asked, looking at her. "Alaikum, do you remember the key that you asked Jiraiya for then, so open the seal with it?" 9, Tails prompted. After that, Naruto lit up small blue lights on his fingertips and he turned the seal on his stomach. The cage opened and after that they started to train together. And flashback: now the strongest of all Biju, Kyubi, was hanging over Konoha, and again this roar that they had heard for a long time, but had not forgotten it. Everyone turned their attention there, even those busy fighting Hatake and Orochimaru. The first smiled and continued the fight. And Naruto went on, "But that's not the task, there are too many people here and, since he is too lazy to play with people who can't resist him, he decided to use his second Mangekai ability, calling Shinigami." Naruto bowed to him and began to speak. "Shinigami-sama, you can take the souls of ordinary people," said Naruto and was about to run away towards Shinobi, but Shinigami suddenly spoke. "Naruto, you are my successor, so when you want to become one, just call me and ask. I will be happy to give you my post, but for now I will help you, but I can't be here for a long time, because this is your first call," said the god of death, smiling, although it was more like grinned. "Okay, Shinigami-sama," the red-haired man said quickly and ran away to fight with the shinobi. Kurama has already destroyed almost half of the village. He wanted to launch a Biju bomb, when suddenly it gets sucked into Kakashi's Kamui. Naruto ran towards the barrier in which the Hokage and Kazekage were supposed to fight, and almost ran when he saw Hiruzen barely alive and around about 50 Anbu Suna and sound, and about 70 dead. Naruto just went berserk and everyone in Konoha was just crushed by his Ki. It was so heavy that Sannin and Kakashi's Sharingan could barely stand on their feet, which were shaking. Shinigami smiled at this and, muttering something to himself, disappeared. And Kyuubi, no longer feeling resistance, began to load the bomb. Naruto did not direct Ki at him. The bomb flew straight into the residence and destroyed all of Konoha, because all the remaining chakra of Kurama was invested in it and he disappeared. Naruto teleported with the help of Hiraishin to the Hokage's faces, but what's left of the faces is a big pit, and even the remains of houses or something else are gone. Everyone who was in this village died at the hands of Naruto, Shinigami or Kyuubi bomb. He just smiled that now he would be able to live quietly with Mei so that no one would disturb them. He was about to leave when there appeared in front of him. Akatsuki appeared in front of him. Naruto learned about them from Jiraiya. Flashback. Hello Jiraiya-san, Grandpa told me that you are following some organization, please tell me about it. Naruto greeted his godfather. And why do you need it? The gray-haired man asked with interest. So that if you meet them, you know how to fight against them. Okay, just listen carefully. They have two whom I do not know, and I will tell you about the rest now. The first one, Konan, is my former student. Now she is a rather tall woman who had short, straight, purple hair, yellow eyes with pale purple eyeliner and a piercing labret under her lower lip. In her hair, since childhood, she wears a blue origami flower. Usually her expression remains neutral, however, Konan may look restless or indignant. She wears a standard Akatsuki uniform and a ring on the middle finger of her right hand with the kanji, white. Unlike other members of the organization, she paints her nails orange. Although Konan does not take off his cloak, the garment has a long hem at the back, and there is a small zipper in the middle of the front. The navel has 4 more piercings. Instead of sandals and leggings, she wears long johns and high platform shoes. Don't ask me how I know so much. Jiraiya giggled. The second is Kakuzu, an S-rank renegade ninja from a hidden waterfall. The man is quite tall with dark skin and dark brown hair. Despite his considerable age, he still does not look like an old man, rather like a man in the prime of life, because he has retained a fairly muscular physique. The color of his eyes is very unusual, a green iris with no signs of a pupil and a red sclera. He wore a black mask on the lower part of his face and a white hood that completely covered his head. His other clothes included the traditional Akatsuki cloak and the protector of his native village, the symbol on which is crossed out in the middle as a sign that he no longer belongs to Takegakura. Like each of the Akatsuki members, Kakuzu's nails are painted. The color of his nails is brown. On the finger of his left hand, Kakuzu wears a Hokuto ring, the northern star. Kakuzu's entire body is covered in stitches as a result of using his technique, fear of earthly hatred. I had a chance to fight with him once, that's enough. Strong, the third, Kisame, nicknamed the Monster of the Hidden Fog, was a shinobi of the Hoshigaki clan from the Hidden Fog. After joining the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, he became a rank S renegade ninja. Kisame was a very tall and muscular shinobi. He had a distinctive, shark appearance, which gives him a blue-gray skin. He also has small, round, white eyes, facial markings resembling gills under his eyes, real gills on his shoulders, and sharp triangular teeth, just like the other members of the 7 shinobi swordsmen of the mist. In addition, he has blue hair that resembles a shark fin in style. As a member of Akatsuki, he painted his nails with dark purple varnish. Kisame wore a typical Akatsuki member's cloak, under which his torso remained naked. He also wore a brown belt throughout the front and back of his cape to wear the samahata. He had an Akatsuki ring with the kanji, south, yellow on the ring finger of his left hand. His sword is samahata, don't touch it, it sucks out the chakra. The fourth is Haiden, an S-rank renegade ninja from Hidden Hot Springs. He had medium-length silver hair combed back and distinctive bright crimson eyes. He wears an Akatsuki cloak without a shirt, revealing it to the level of his stomach, ordinary gray pants, a bandage with the crossed-out emblem of the village of Hidden Hot Springs on his neck and an amulet of Jashin. The nail polish on his nails is dark green. The orange Akatsuki ring on the index finger of his left hand has the kanji 3. Haiden always wears a 3-link braid behind his back and coils with a rope from it on his belt. When I was traveling and met Tsunade, she said she saw him, a great drinking buddy. Jiraiya smiled, but met with a slightly irritable look from Naruto, who thought that he would be the first to tell him useful information. The fifth is Deidara, a rank S renegade ninja from Hidden Stone. Deidara had slanted blue eyes and long blonde hair, some of which he gathered into a ponytail, and the other part was freely released. The bangs hanging over his left eye hid his magnifying device on his eye, indicating his specialization in ranged combat. After using the Hidden Stone Kenjutsu on himself, Deidara had mouths in both of his palms, and there was another sewn mouth on the left side of his chest. He used Kenjutsu to add the element of explosion to his clay. He wore the organization's traditional raincoat, dark blue pants, matching sandals, and an Akatsuki ring with the kanji green/blue turquoise on the index finger of his right hand. He also painted his fingernails and toenails with black varnish. Under his raincoat was a sleeveless shirt with a V-neck and mesh armor still underneath. In addition, he wore an auxiliary belt with 2 bags on each side, which he used to store his clay. I was near the stone then and I managed to see his so-called art, very fascinating. The sixth, Sasori, also known as Sasori of Red Sand, was an S-rank renegade ninja. Sasori had wide gray-brown eyes that he inherited from his mother, and short, red hair that he inherited from his father. Sasori's appearance has always been a little hazy, and her gaze is dreamy. The puppeteer wears an Akatsuki cloak and a purple ring on the thumb of his left hand, the kanji of which stands for pearl or sphere. Also, like all Akatsuki members, Sasori's nails are painted. Its color is dark green. Despite the fact that Sasori still had a bandana with the sign of Sunu, he did not wear it, but only kept it with him. Sasori's doll body consists of a pair of rotating claws attached to his lower back, a holder for 4 scrolls on his back, a stinger in an empty and open abdominal cavity, a door in the right side of his chest and a core of living flesh in the left, on which the kanji scorpion is written. Very skilled in poisons, I advise you not to let yourself be scratched, otherwise you will have to ask for help from Tsunade. And the seventh, pain, is their head. There are 6 of them. How this can be, I don't know myself. There is a Rinnegan, one of them is also my student, orange-haired, and all 6 are pierced. I don't know any more information about him. Thank you very much, I will have to. I thanked him and left in thought on the head of the 3rd Hokage Naruto, and flashback suddenly Pain began to speak. Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha, we invite you to join our Akatsuki organization. Here you are. The red-haired man wanted to continue, but Naruto interrupted him. No, Naruto cut him off and got ready for battle, because he knew that they were all at the level of Kage, and 6 of them had no blood. You need to be careful. Pain clearly didn't like being interrupted and he signaled Kisame to go check on his strength, but when the shark-like one stopped, he turned to see what had happened there. The severed heads of Kisame and Deidara were lying on the ground. Naruto felt that Kurama had fallen into hibernation and his summoning took up a lot of chakra, so you need to use it wisely. He introduced Konan to Genjutsu and showed her her worst nightmares. After a couple of seconds she came out of Genjutsu and fainted from emotions. From behind, threads that wanted to envelop him escaped from the ground, but he jumped up and folded seals in the air, summoning a raven, which began to circle over the most dangerous group of Nukanins. He flew over them folding more seals. Suetun, Tsunami, Raiden, Electric Wolf, said the red-black-haired name of the technician. When very deadly techniques flew at the Nukanins, the remaining Nukanins managed to evade, except for Conan, Haydn and a couple of Pain's bodies. Conan died immediately, as did the body of the red-haired man, and Haydn was charged with cheerfulness for the rest of his short life. Naruto created clones and chakras for techniques he almost had left. He sent them to Kakuzu and the head of Akatsuki, and he went into battle against Haydn. During it, he cut off his amulet and cut off his head. As it turned out, his immortality worked at the expense of the amulet. Naruto wanted to go and help the clones finish off Kakuzu, as Sasori flies out of the bushes at him, about whom he had completely forgotten. Naruto felt his clones evaporate. It turned out that the clones killed Kakuzu, but they could not cope with pain. Naruto teleported a couple of meters forward, remembering what Jiraiya said, and when the chakra ended, he passed out. Damn, he almost killed us all. If he had fought at full strength, we would have lost, said the man with the Rinnegan in his eyes. Okay, Sasori, take him and let's go to the base, and I'll bury the others. The doll picked up Uzumaki Uchiha and ran to the shelter. And Yahiko's body came up to Conan and took her in his arms. Right now Nagato was really reproaching himself for not being able to protect her and decided to sacrifice himself to resurrect her. Nagato had tears pouring out of his eyes now. He was folding the last seals in his life, and, summoning the King of Hell, threw Conan's corpse there. After a few minutes she came out alive, and Nagato was lying and dying. The blue-haired woman ran up to him and also began to cry, looking at the face of her best friend, who still had a smile on his face. She decided to burn his body so that no one would get his eyes, as well as his cells. He should not be revived. But then Madara appears and kills her, sucking Conan's head into Kamui. Then he went up to Nagato and, getting angry, started kicking his corpse. Because everything should have been different, he had to resurrect Madara, and not this blue-haired ass. When he took out all his anger on the red-haired one, he took his eyes and put them in a jar, left from there. He was heading to the shelter to seal the nine-tailed and one-tailed, which he managed to suck into the Kamui before the bomb exploded. Naruto's POV, oh shit, how could you screw up like that? The Shinigami receiver muttered discontentedly, walking through the corridors of his subconscious. When he reached Kurama, he saw that the redhead was being dragged somewhere. Naruto wanted to ask what happened and what was going on, but everything started to collapse. His whole inner world was being destroyed piece by piece, and everything around him was getting blacker and blacker. When everything turned black, Shinigami appeared in front of him and started talking. Yes, not much time has passed since our last meeting, baby. The god of death stretched out, levitating in front of him. I agree. What about me? Naruto asked the question, because he was worried that something would happen to Mei, because he did not leave clones with her. You're on the verge of life and death right now, but I can bring you back to life. Shinigami said. So what are you waiting for? Naruto asked again. I don't want you to be killed again so stupidly, so I will train you here for 100 years. He wanted to add something, but the red black-haired man interrupted him. I won't live that long. He began to be indignant. You didn't let me finish. Only 5 years will pass in your world. I won't let you go before. The god of death has set his conditions. Okay, I agree. He spoke with pain in his soul. But tell me, what are you going to teach me and how do I address you? My name is Ryuk, he said and fell into thought, remembering who the last time he said his name. Light, this man was the first to know his name and the one he considered a friend, but he had to kill him. When Ryuka's whole world collapsed, when all the other Shinigami died, he was left alone. Sorry, I was thinking something. I will train you in the use of spiritual energy. With it, you will be able to transform into Shinigami and summon spirits that will help you in battle. And also, after you become a Shinigami, you will have a notebook in which, if you write down someone's name, he will die. The training takes place in several stages. 1. You will be trained to manage spiritual energy. Point 2. You will learn to turn into a Shinigami. Point 3. you will learn to summon spirits. Horosho. Let's get started. Naruto said with amusement in his voice. 40 years later. During these 40 years, Naruto has not aged at all, and Shinigami explained this by saying that time does not flow here, but only the soul ages. The red black-haired one has only recently learned how to control spiritual energy and can already summon beads like Shinigami. Ryuk has already become like a father to him, as has Naruto. Ryuku. 10 years have later. Naruto's training has almost come to an end for another 10 years. He often told his father about Mei, about how beautiful and cheerful she was. He missed her very much. He had already learned everything that Ryuk could teach him. These 50 years, he wanted to improve his other skills that he possessed. Another 50 years later, Naruto. Over these 100 years you have become much stronger than you were before. During this time you have become to me like the son I never had. When you return to your world, I hope you will still find your happiness there. Ryuk spoke with a drooping voice, because for such a long time he had become attached to this boy as much as to light. Don't worry, father, I'm sure Mei is waiting for me, and I'll also find these Akatsuki and give them Shapalahi, Naruto said with a radiant smile. It was this smile that gave light to this dark place, this smile, of a boy who did not give up and took revenge. He did not give up and found his happiness. He will not give up and fulfill his dream of becoming a Shinigami, because that's when he will catch up with him in strength. Shinigami just snapped his fingers and Naruto found himself in some kind of cave. He teleported to the mark in the house and started calling his beloved, but no one responded. Naruto checked all the places in the house, but he did not find her, and what is the strangest thing is that things remained in the house. Naruto, just sighing heavily, went to his bedroom with Mei and took out a photo of them kissing by the sea, meeting the dawn. After, Naruto, without taking anything from home, and having printed out the Shinigami mask and the scythe with gunbai, which he hung on his back, Uzumaki Uchiha left the house and, standing near the house, a light appeared on his finger. He brought it to the house and it began to burn. Naruto watched as his house burned down, took his old happy life with him and returned the old image of the bloody Shinigami, who would rejoice in blood and would be emotionless with everyone. And when it was almost burnt out, Naruto kissed the photo and threw it into the house, starting to leave. Gigi called the spirits and ordered them to find out when there would be 4 MVSH. The summoned one simply disappeared and the Shinigami receiver headed towards the nearest city where he and Mei liked to spend time. In the city, he went to a local bar and when they saw him, everyone immediately ran away, because according to the stories, except Madara and the bloody Shinigami, no one else went in red armor, in a Shinigami mask and even with such a hairstyle. He went to the counter and ordered a stronger drink. He was immediately poured the strongest moonshine. Now Naruto has been robbed of everything that was, they have taken away a happy life, kurama and, most importantly, his wife. When he had drunk enough, he just got up and left. He already knew from the spirits that the war would begin tomorrow, where he would take revenge on everyone. He will show everyone that the bloody Shinigami has returned, and POV Naruto woke up in the tree where he stopped for the night. And immediately went to the battlefield, because the army is too small and there are not too many enemies, then the war will take place on one battlefield. War is evil, in our world wars take place for territory, for money, and the main thing is that no one cares that people who have children, a wife or parents who are waiting for them at home die in this war. War always takes away from a person all the most precious things that he has. In war, you always have to be merciless. I am sure that the quote fits the war: either humanity will end the war, or the war will end humanity. John F. Kennedy. If you think about this quote and look at how many wars there were before and how many lives they destroyed, then you can understand that if wars continue and, perhaps, even someone thinks of using nuclear weapons, then the point in this war is if it only harms the earth, climate, etc. And if you look at the world of Shinobi and remember, for example, World War III, which everyone remembers that Minato killed the entire army of stone. Imagine how many people there were, how many of them had children, wives. Then even children were sent to war, and what will children be able to do in the war against shinobi with experience? Nothing. But the fourth Hokage could also be understood. He defended his village, his loved ones, people who were in Konoha. Naruto decided to go first to see what was happening on the battlefield, and then maybe he would drop by the headquarters. When he arrived on the battlefield, he saw the reborn Akatsuki, the white Zetsu, the 7 mist swordsmen, the past Raikage, Kazekage, Mizukage and Tsuchikage, fighting against the shinobi alliance of 3 countries, stone, cloud and sand. When he approached, he heard a conversation that the reborn asked where the Konoha and Mist shinobi were, and they were told that these villages were destroyed by Nuke-nin under the nickname Bloody Shinigami, but he had not been seen for a long time and most likely he died and even his wife. They wanted to continue the shinobi, but the one appeared in front of them, who they definitely did not expect to see, their main fear. And what are you discussing behind my back? Naruto suddenly appeared and asked. Everyone was stunned by this and began to tremble, because they thought he was against them, but he was going to save this rotting world on the contrary. Okay, I'll help you, only I'll need to talk to the heads of villages, the binder tell them. He said and began to turn into Shinigami. After completing the transformation, he used the ability of his Mangekai, and called Father, and he immediately understood everything. They began to take the souls of all the resurrected to the afterlife. When all the resurrected fell, only Zetsu and Tobi remained. Naruto just asked the contact what was there, and he replied that he should go to the headquarters, which is located in the cloud. Naruto just nodded and, having accumulated enough natural chakra and taking off his outer clothes, he grew black wings with which he flew to Kumo, Raikage, Kazekage, Tsuchikage and the former Mizukage, who was now standing near the head of the village of clouds, were very worried, because after the bloody Shinigami destroyed Konoha, he disappeared and did not appear anywhere, and now that the war began, he himself came to the battlefield, so he also destroyed all the resurrected. They were waiting for the arrival of a hero or villain, for whom as. More recently, a council was meeting at which it turned out that sects were formed in the villages that worship and sacrifice the bloody Shinigami. They say that this is the god who punished the bloody fog for conducting such cruel exams and Konoha for sending children to war and, most importantly, for the fact that the fourth killed too many people, so they paid the price. While everyone was sitting in thought, a window broke and the greatest Nuke-nin flew in there. All eyes immediately turned to him. He landed and the wings disappeared. Uzumaki Uchiha put a chair and sat down on it, looking at everyone without an emotional look. The Raikage decided to break the silence first. How can you prove that you really are him? Hei asked the question suspiciously, although the red black-haired man helped the alliance, but this does not prove that it is him. It's him, he's on our side, Mei muttered very softly to herself. But everyone heard her clearly. She was looking at Naruto with eyes from which tears were already flowing. Naruto looked at her with complete indifference. She remembered what she said to Senju then and, apparently, it hit Naruto hard. If that's what my wife says, then I believe him. The black man said firmly. Everyone else just nodded and waited for what Naruto would say. You know what I realized when I tortured my mother? I told her what madness is, and now I realize that I am a madman myself. I constantly tried to take revenge on everyone, but, you're lucky, I don't want to take revenge on you, Mei. If you feel good with him, then health and happiness to you. So that's what I'm talking about. When I tortured her, she told me that no one would ever love me, a demon. I didn't understand what she was talking about, but you can say she was wrong, because I was loved, and no, I'm not talking about you, Terumi, I'm talking about Shinigami. He loved me like his own son, and I loved him like a father. Okay, let's get down to business. Do you know where the remaining Akatsuki are now? Naruto said all this with indifference. yes, one of them is now in the cave and controls the reborn, perhaps he has already escaped, and the second is fighting with B and wants to take away the eight-tailed one," said the completely young head of the village of sand, Aizen. "And why is he there alone and you don't help him?" Naruto asked with anger in his voice. "You, watch your tongue," Raikage started to shout, as his wife's hand on his shoulder calmed him down. She whispered to him that no one on this planet could compare with Naruto in strength and it was better to be careful with him, because who else but her would know about his strength. "Okay, I'm sure he can handle it," he declared in a calm voice. Naruto just got up and, having grown wings, flew away, saying finally that they were all idiots here. When he left, everyone continued to talk about the war, except for Mei. She just went home and started crying on the way, remembering all the happy moments with him. POV Mei. Well, Naruto is gone again. He says that he went to destroy Konoha so that she would not interfere with our peaceful life, but it seems to me that he just likes to kill. But I have fun with him, I feel that I am protected with him, maybe I even love him, even though he asked me to get married, but I am not sure of my choice. I hope he comes back. It's been 2 years since Naruto left to destroy Konoha. When the brown-haired girl went to the city for the last time, there were rumors that Konoha was destroyed and the bloody Shinigami just disappeared. Mei thought that he had abandoned her, and at that moment the shinobi who were looking for her break into the house. She couldn't even do anything, arriving in a state of surprise and shock. When they were about to take her head off, ANBU clouds suddenly appeared and the shinobi who attacked Mei fall dead. They, standing near her, began to talk. "Mei-sama, Raikage-sama wants you to live in the village of clouds." Mei thought for a couple of minutes and decided to announce her answer. "Okay, I agree, just come out, I need to do something." ANBU came out of the house and waited for her. And Mei sat down at the table and thought about what to write in the letter, because maybe Naruto will come back. "Letter dear, it's been 2 years since you left, I was worried about you, but my feelings for you have cooled, I hope you will understand me. I've gone into a hidden cloud, don't look for me. Maybe I'm already married to another person. And, as, so far, your wife, I want to ask you not to take revenge on anyone and the war is about to start. I hope you will help us. Your favorite Mei Uzumaki is Uchiha," and letter Mei, leaving the ring on the table, near the letter, left the house and, after looking at it one last time, just nodded to ANBU and they ran to the village. Upon arrival in the village, she was immediately taken to the Raikage. He liked her at first sight, as he liked her. But still, something prickled in my heart. They started a conversation. "Hello, Raikage-sama, why do you need me?" Asked Mei the question she was interested in. "I heard that the bloody Shinigami had disappeared somewhere and thought that it would finally be possible to find you, so I postponed the missions and sent ANBU to look for you. I hope you will stay in our village." He began with concern and asked with hope in his voice. "Yes, I will stay, but I have no place to live. You can stay with me," he said with a slight smile, and Terumi just nodded with a blush on her cheeks. "Why didn't you take your things?" He asked a logical question. "You can call me you, because we now live together, but at the expense of things, I wanted to leave everything in the past and start a new life," she said, and wondered if she would regret her choice. But she did not spend long in thought. She took the keys to the house and, asking how to get to the house, she left the office of the head of the village. It's been 2 years since Mei lives in the cloud and 4 years since Naruto disappeared. Hei and Terumi got married and they had a pretty loud wedding, the one that the brown-haired girl had always dreamed of. She often supported her husband, went everywhere with him. And he doted on her, he loved her very much, even though she didn't understand what she felt for a black man. But staying with him, she felt that something bad was going to happen soon. The war started today. I remember my last war. We were crushed like flies then. It will be necessary to go to the headquarters of EY later, maybe there will be something interesting. when Mei came to the room where the village heads were sitting, she came and sat down next to her husband. But then suddenly the messenger reports that the KSH appeared on the battlefield and that he started killing the reborn, and he wants to talk to you, Reikage-sama. Hei gave his consent, and everyone was waiting for his arrival, and Hei's wife was very worried, because maybe he didn't read her note, or maybe he wants revenge. After Naruto's conversation, he flew off to help B, and Mei went home, because it was very hard for her to see how she hurt a loved one. She realized that she still loves Naruto, not Aya. When Naruto had already flown to the place of the Battle of Bai and Madara, he saw how Gyuki was sealed in Geto. Having sealed the eight-tailed, Tobi began to revive Jubi, and it was at this moment that Naruto dived right at him, but suddenly the leg of the revived Madara flies into him. The bloody Shinigami retracted his wings in the air and landing on the ground looked at his opponent and the one he admired. He decided to play around with him to find out if he had achieved one of his two goals. Who are you, kid? Madara asked with interest, looking at his twin as if. I am the one who admired you, I am the one who knew this rotten world, I am the genius of my generation, the most dangerous nuke Nin, the bloody Shinigami. In general, whatever they called me. Said the red-haired man standing in the armor of his opponent and a mask that every living shinobi recognizes. Well, nothing, I am confident in my strength and that I will show you your place. Said the black-haired man and ran to Naruto in taijutsu. For Uchiha from the very beginning, the fight did not go very well because Naruto was also in Sannin mode. Madara learned this from the black pigmentation near his eyes. Even though Naruto was so sure that he would defeat his idol, but it's better to be safe, 3 minutes have already passed in battle and the shinobi god decided to try ninjutsu. He began to fold seals for different fire techniques, fireball, fire destruction, fire dragon. Naruto got tired of dodging techniques and he decided to show the power of his technique. He began to fold unknown seals for Madara, whispering something to himself. Uchiha activated the Sharingan and wanted to read his lips, but the opponent stopped talking. Suddenly, a lot of water is formed under Madara that one would think it was the sea. It starts to rain, and 3 huge dragons made of green lightning fly from the sky. Uchiha does not have time to jump away and simply disintegrates into atoms, but he begins to regenerate. Naruto decides that it's time to finish it, turns into a Shinigami and takes the soul of his opponent, and he in turn says that he recognizes Naruto or the bloody Shinigami as the strongest in this world and thanks for this magnificent, albeit short fight. Having taken the soul, Uzumaki Uchiha turns his gaze to the false Madara who became the Jinchuriki of the ten-tailed and only Naruto can match him in strength, and Kabuto who was standing next to him wanted to lick his lips, but his head was pierced through by Naruto's Chidori. Jinchuriki Jubi was just about to start saying something when he heard a steely voice from behind his back. A chill went through his skin. He started talking. Well, Obito, apparently there are still people from Konoha. I will leave you alive and leave if you divide Biju into 9 parts and, he wanted to say something as a black sphere called Gudadama flies at him. Naruto deftly dodged and sometimes even launched techniques into Obito, but Naruto got tired of it and he already had a plan. Mei's ex-husband activated the Mangekai and poured some blood into the head, which caused the opponent to lose consciousness. He picked it up and started to print the Biju. When Jubi appeared, Naruto divided it back into 9 parts. Who wants to be sealed? Naruto immediately asked his question. Only Gyuki, Matatabi and Kurama responded positively, hoping that they would find the same person as Naruto. On all the others, he used Fuinjutsu techniques so that they could not be sealed. Thank you very much. They bowed their heads in front of him and then Kage and Mei arrived to them. She immediately rushed to her ex-husband with tears in her eyes. But he disappeared and appeared near Kage. Well, I did what I said, and now it's time for me to leave. Said the red black-haired man and was about to leave when Mei spoke to him. Please Naruto stay. She screamed with tears in her eyes and falling to her knees. The youngest son of the fourth Hokage stopped and cast his lifeless gaze at her. Do you think that after you left me, I'll forgive you? I've already made a lot of mistakes in my life, and it seems to me that if I forgive you, this will be one of them. After these words, Mei cried even harder, and everyone else did not want flattery because they saw his strength, well, except for Raikage, who decided to stand up for his wife. Well, wait, how dare you talk to her like that? Shouted Hei. Everyone looked at him as a suicide. And Uzumaki Uchiha just continued to walk without paying attention to him. The Kage of the Land of Lightning was very angry at the fact that they did not pay attention to him, and even he would earn money for the head of the bloody Shinigami, and covering his body with lightning, he ran into the back of Nuke-Nin. For Naruto, he moved quite slowly, so he stepped aside and put the scythe at neck level, and Raikage cut off his head on emotions without having time to react. He took the black man's head and threw it at the feet of Mei and the other two Kages and said, "If someone looks for me or someone attacks me, this village will repeat the fate of Konoha, and at the expense of you, Mei, live happily, and he himself is to blame for dying." He threw in the last and began to walk into the sunset. The rest of the shinobi that had just arrived, looked at it with surprised eyes, and hearing what he said did not dare to move at all. After Naruto left into the sunset, all the shinobi began to celebrate the victory, everyone except Shinobi Kumo, because they lost their Kage. Time skip 10 years. Kumo chose a new Raikage, Darui. In Sun everything is the same, and in Willow they chose a new Tsuchikage, Kuratsuchi. The countries distributed the territory of Konoha, and Kumo signed peace treaties and now live in peace. Mei committed suicide because she was beaten in the cloud, looked at with hateful looks, and all because they believed that it was because of her that Hei died. She couldn't stand it and fell off the cliff. Gyuki was sealed in the Kumo shinobi, Kurama never found, as he believed, a person who was worthy to be sealed in Kyubi no Yoko himself, and therefore he stayed to live in the crater that remained after the destruction of Konoha, and Matatabi decided that she wanted to finally find her happiness and therefore decided to go with Kurama. Isabu went to the bottom of the sea near the Whirlpool village. Shikaku found a place in the desert where no one would find him and lived there. Son Goku was also in the woods near Konoha. Kokuo was in Kiri territory. Saiken went after Kokuo. Chomei flew away in an unknown direction. About Naruto. After he went into the sunset, he was no longer seen by people, he was removed from the book Bingo, and no one was looking for him anymore, but legends, stories and even books that children study at the academy were created about him. Naruto himself became a new Shinigami, and now his strength is equal to the strength of other gods. He became very friendly with the goddess of black flame Amaterasu and the god of blood Jashin. Amaterasu began to like Naruto and she noticed it. One day the newly minted god decided to invite her on a date. And at the end, when they were about to disperse, Naruto leaned forward, pulling the goddess of black flame to him and kissed him, putting all the accumulated emotions. After Naruto eroded the kiss due to lack of air, he quietly said, "I love you." Amaterasu was not surprised and without pulling the cat by the tail said, "I love you too," and Tatsu was with you.